Chapter 1758 Phoenix God Palace. Realm Space. 4. One had to admit that after picking up many scripture attributes, Wang Teng was familiar with all kinds of scriptures. Even though he had never practiced this Dragon Crest Avalanche scripture, just by taking a look at it, he could already discern quite a few issues. And they were all accurate. The powerful martial warrior who created this Dragon Crest Avalanche scripture did have limited ability. Hence, he could only create an incomplete spiritual power scripture. What stage can you reach with this scripture? Round Ball asked curiously. Universe stage. Wang Teng said, dragons are mysterious and powerful creatures. Even just visualizing dragon scales can have a significant impact. In reality, this technique goes beyond the scope of typical spiritual cultivation methods. The 3 scriptures I chose for you are all powerful and can be cultivated to the universe stage. There are some scattered spiritual power scriptures in the Devour Nihility Beast's memory. However, they are either too ordinary or can only be cultivated up to the heaven stage, so I won't mention them separately. Round Ball nodded. It pondered for some time and said, since all of them can only be cultivated to the universe stage, I will practice the Buddha's Sutra just like you. Are you sure? Wang Teng didn't expect Round Ball to choose the hardest scripture. He was surprised. Yes. Round Ball nodded firmly. Then, it smiled and said, my expectations for myself have increased after spending so much time with a monster like you. I can't afford to fall too far behind. Also, the stronger the scripture, the more beneficial it will be for me in the future. Naturally, I will choose the strongest. You've also mentioned that this scripture is extremely rare. Others may never even get the chance to practice it. Now that this opportunity is in front of me, there's no reason for me to reject it. Not bad, your awareness has increased, Wang Teng said in surprise. Round Ball wasn't like this in the past. It always thought highly of itself and felt that it was amazing. This change of attitude was surprising. People will change, Round Ball replied. All right, since it's your decision, I'll support it. Wang Teng looked at it intently and nodded. No one understood the difficulty of this scripture and the level of suffering it entailed. After all, he had cultivated 3 times. Once for the true form and twice for the Devour Nihility Beast clone. During the final battle on the number 29 defense planet, he destroyed the Devour Nihility Beast's 9 treasures pagoda and had no choice but to reconstruct it. 3 practices meant triple the pain. In this world, perhaps no one understood it better than him. Get ready, Wang Teng said. Let's do it. Round Ball took a deep breath and turned serious. Wang Teng nodded. He stretched out his hand and placed it on Round Ball's forehead. Spiritual power surged out as he used a special transmission technique to impart the cultivation methods of the Buddha's Sutra to Round Ball. Round Ball immediately closed its eyes, sensing the vast flow of information. Fortunately, it was a heaven-stage intelligent life form now. In terms of enlightenment, it was above a heaven-stage martial warrior and was comparable to a universe-stage martial warrior. As a result, it quickly absorbed this influx of information. When it opened its eyes again, there was a hint of strangeness in its gaze. It said with complex emotions, this technique is truly absurd. You were present when I was refining the 9 treasures pagoda. You should know how arduous and challenging it was. I won't go into details, but I advise you not to visualize the 2 ancient god hammers I did. It will make things more difficult for you, Wang Teng cautioned. I understand. I don't dare to visualize those 2 hammers. Only someone as crazy as you would dare to visualize such ancient and mysterious things, Round Ball said with a wry smile. I'm not crazy. I'm confident, Wang Teng retorted. All right, I'm not going to argue with you. I want to cultivate. Round Ball rolled its eyes. Wait, let me explain a few difficult points of cultivating the Buddha's Sutra to you first. Wang Teng stopped Round Ball and started explaining the Buddha's Sutra in detail. Round Ball listened to him attentively. With Wang Teng's extensive experience and having successfully cultivated the scripture 3 times, it was bound to benefit immensely from his guidance. Half a day later, Round Ball finally disappeared, carrying its insights and knowledge as it went to build its 9 treasures pagoda. Wang Teng stood up and stretched his back. His gaze flickered slightly as he walked out of the cultivation room. It's time to go out and take a look. I've been neglecting many things for the past few days. He muttered to himself. That worm is having a great time. Does he think that I'm afraid? The moment Wang Ting went out, he attracted the attention of many students. Wang Ting is out, someone exclaimed in surprise. With Wang Ting's appearance, it was only a matter of time before he would fight with Zhu Longshan. Many people were anticipating their battle eagerly. Some even directly posted updates about Wang Ting's whereabouts on the internal web. There were also people sent by Zhu Longshan to guard the entrance of Wang Ting's manor. The moment Wang Ting came out, they immediately relayed the information back to Zhu Longshan. Good, you're finally willing to come out. Zhu Longshan was elated. An evil expression appeared on his face. Yu Qiqiao also received the news and rushed over. Wang Ting, you're finally out. Everyone is waiting for you. Waiting for me? Why? Wang Ting asked calmly. Zhu Longshan issued a challenge to you on the internal web and called you a coward, Yu Qiqiao said in frustration when she saw how calm he was. Chapter 1759 Phoenix God Palace. Realm Space. 5. Let him speak all he wants. Am I supposed to kick a mad dog when it barks at me? Wang Ting asked. Yu Qiqiao was speechless. Wow, Wade's insults were already quite sharp, but compared to Wang Ting, he still falls a bit short. Wade called the solar dragon raceworms, but Wang Ting called them mad dogs directly. At this moment, Yu Qiqiao just wanted to shout, "Brother, you're awesome. You sure have some guts," she said. She still felt a little speechless. Just average, Wang Ting replied indifferently. Honestly, he didn't take Zhu Longshan's challenge seriously. He was just a Cosmos stage martial warrior. No matter how powerful his race talent was, he didn't believe that Zhu Longshan was his match. The constant provocations were merely attempts to find an opportunity to reclaim the solar dragon race's body. Wang Ting wouldn't allow them to succeed so easily. Since the grudge was already formed, there was no room for reconciliation. The other party provoked him again and again. Did he think he had no temper? If this mad dog pounced on him and bite him, he would step on it and crush it without any hesitation. He wouldn't let him be happy for too long. Forget it, I'm too lazy to talk to you. Yu Qiqiao waved her hand, feeling mentally exhausted. Since Wang Ting wasn't in a hurry, what was the point of them being anxious? Aren't you going to fight with him? Treant Borit came and asked curiously. There's no hurry. Let the mad dog bark for a while longer. Wang Ting gave a meaningful smile. Why do I feel that you're up to no good? Yu Qiqiao looked at him curiously. Don't spout nonsense. I'm not that kind of person, Wang Ting said. What do you plan to do next? Yu Qiqiao asked. There are many cultivation zones in the academy. I plan to check them out, Wang Ting said. To him, picking up attributes was his top priority. He picked up many attribute bubbles in the Sword Storm plane that could be used to raise the power of his domains. In that case, there might be attribute bubbles in other cultivation zones too. He had to take a look. He couldn't afford to miss any spot. After leaving the Uncharted, it wouldn't be as easy to obtain the attributes of the power of laws of origin attribute bubbles. Hence, he could only raise the power of his domain first. Furthermore, before he reached the universe stage, he needed to raise his domain to the perfected stage. This was crucial for the comprehension of the laws of origin in the future. Cultivation zones. I've only been to the Sword Storm plane for the past few days, but I'm still not in the top 100,000. I realize that this gap is really hard to cross. Yet, you managed to squeeze in on your first attempt. You're a monster, Yu Qiqiao said. Keep up the good work. Wang Ting smiled, preparing to leave and head towards a cultivation zone within the academy. Oh right, an Eternal Stage instructor is giving a public lecture on spiritual power cultivation tonight. Are you interested in listening? Yu Qiqiao suddenly thought of something and asked. A lesson on spiritual power cultivation? Wang Ting was stunned. What a coincidence. Round Ball wasn't the only one who needed to cultivate its spiritual power. After he entered the Cosmos stage, he also needed to restart his spiritual power cultivation. Previously, his spiritual power reached the peak of the celestial realm, but it got stuck at the critical point for a long time. Thus, there was no need to cultivate it. However, things were different now. After advancing to the cosmos stage, he needed to raise his spiritual power again. While collecting attribute bubbles was the simplest and most direct method of improvement, he also needed various insights to maximize the potential of his spiritual power. Additionally, he needed to forge a new spiritual power weapon. The golden crescent blade was damaged during a battle and couldn't be used anymore. Yes. Wang Teng nodded. He agreed to attend the lesson with Yu Qiqiao and the others at night. It's decided then. Yu Qiqiao nodded and left. Treant Borit left too. They had suitable cultivation zones, which were different from Wang Teng's. Wang Teng took out his spacecraft and flew in a certain direction. Lightning Valley. The 7 stellar academies simultaneously controlled a few large special spaces at the same time. They were known as the realm spaces. Realm spaces were a unique type of space with origin unknown. Some said they were created by the formidable martial warriors of the 7 stellar academies, while others believed they formed naturally. This space realm was different from the uncharted. The uncharted resembled embryonic universes, while the realm spaces were just special spaces. Each had its benefits. It was said that various ancient scriptures and battle techniques were preserved in these realm spaces, even bloodlines and talents might exist inside. As long as one could pass certain tests, one could obtain these treasures. It was unbelievable. Normally, bloodlines and talents were innate qualities. Yet, they could be obtained within the spaces. Thus, to the talented martial warriors from the various territorial domains, the most attractive aspects of the 7 stellar academies were the uncharted and the realm spaces. Of course, to enter a realm space, one needed to go through some tests. The Lightning Valley was the path that led to one of the realm space, the Lightning Realm. The Sword Storm Plane could also lead to a realm space. Wang Teng was currently heading to the Lightning Realm. Chapter 1760 Ancient Lightning Pattern, Divine Level Physique Talent. 1. The Lightning Valley was a huge valley filled with the power of lightning. That was how it got its name. The Lightning Valley was the entrance to the Lightning Realm. Many people cultivated in the Lightning Valley, but most of them were freshmen. The older students were able to pass through the valley safely and enter the Lightning Realm. Before Wang Teng's spacecraft got close, he could already see the gloomy sky in the distance. Rumbling thunderous roars echoed intermittently. Terrifying bolts of lightning descended from the sky, causing a faint distortion in the surrounding space. A dreadful pressure pervaded the area. So this is the Lightning Valley. Wang Teng stood in the control room of the spacecraft and saw this scene through the panoramic simulation. He was astounded. This majestic scene wasn't something he often witnessed. The land of lightning he saw on the number 29 defense planet was nothing compared to this place. This place was terrifying. However, compared to the lightning calamity he met in the chaotic Uncharted, it was still a little lacking. After all, this was the power of the calamity lightning. It was one of the most terrifying lightning in the universe. Of course, in reality, there was not much of a comparison between the two. The lightning calamity was more like a one-time attack. It would give you an immediate thrill. On the other hand, the lightning within the Lightning Valley would last longer. The longer you stay, the more satisfying it would be. Now, here comes the question. Which one was more satisfying? An instant burst of satisfaction or prolonged satisfaction? With this peculiar thought in mind, Wang Teng arrived outside the Lightning Valley. He flew out of the spacecraft and kept it. What's this force? The moment he came out of the spacecraft, he immediately felt a thick constellation lightning force. This was an excellent place for lightning element martial warriors to cultivate. Wang Teng possessed chaos force now, but he could rely on these single element forces to enhance his ability. However, before all the forces reached an equilibrium, they wouldn't merge into chaos force. They would only be stored in the inner cosmos in his body as regular forces. For instance, after Wang Teng absorbed the constellation lightning force, it would remain as the constellation lightning force. It would then condense into constellation lightning force fragments in his inner cosmos. When the quantities of the other forces reach an equivalent level, they would naturally be converted into chaos force through the chaos constellation scripture. Compared to before, there wasn't much difference, except for the additional fusion process at the end. The Lightning Valley attracted many lightning element martial warriors from other academies. This could be seen from the multitude of spacecraft parked outside. Many people were alighting from the spacecraft and entering the Lightning Valley. Similar to the Sword Storm plane, no fees were required to enter the Lightning Valley. One could just enter and cultivate. Wang Ting didn't hesitate. He observed his surroundings for some time and walked towards the entrance of the Lightning Valley. His arrival immediately attracted many people's attention. Wang Teng and Zhulong Shan were very famous recently. Many people didn't actively follow the news, but they were still aware of what was happening. Hence, many were surprised at Wang Ting's appearance in the Lightning Valley. Wang Ting, why is he here? He didn't come out when Zhulong Shan humiliated him. Why is he here now? Is he going to accept Zhulong Shan's challenge? We have a good show to watch. Many people were speculating and whispering among themselves. Wang Teng ignored everyone's gaze and strode to the entrance of the Lightning Valley. The entrance wasn't big, but one could see an endless surge of thunderous light bursting forth from the valley as if trying to deter anyone from advancing. Many people stopped when they saw this scene. They were flabbergasted. The lightning force in the Lightning Valley exceeded everyone's expectations. Many freshmen who just arrived got a little hesitant. What a terrifying lightning power. If I go in like this, I might get struck by lightning. Damn it, so what if I get struck by lightning? I came here to get struck by lightning. Wang Teng smiled. He listened to the conversations around him and walked straight into the Lightning Valley. Boom. The moment he stepped into the Lightning Valley, a bolt of lightning struck down from the sky, aimed directly at Wang Ting's head as if to assert its authority over him. Wang Ting raised his head. His gaze flickered slightly, but he didn't move. He allowed the bolt of lightning to strike him. Boom. The lightning slammed violently on his head. In an instant, Wang Ting was enveloped by the dense lightning. No one could see his face anymore. The martial warriors who were about to enter the Lightning Valley stopped in their tracks when they saw this scene. They looked at him in astonishment. Was the Lightning Valley so dangerous? He got struck the moment he entered. There were stone pillars erected in the Lightning Valley. Many figures were sitting cross-legged on the stone pillars, cultivating amid the onslaught of lightning. They also noticed the scene at the entrance of the Lightning Valley and were stunned. Their expressions turned strange. They had been in Lightning Valley for a long time, but this was the first time they saw someone getting struck by lightning at the entrance. Did he do something outrageous? Was that why the lightning wanted to strike him so badly? Soon, the lightning around Wang Ting dissipated completely, revealing his appearance once again. Surprisingly, he was unscathed. Even his clothes were undamaged. He stretched his neck, sensing the traces of lightning energy lingering on his body. It felt a bit underwhelming. After experiencing the lightning calamity of the chaotic Uncharted, these ordinary lightning strikes didn't affect him much now. He smoothed down his hair, brushing away the lingering sparks as if he was brushing dust away. Chapter 1761 Ancient Lightning Pattern, Divine Level Physique Talent. 2. Silence. Many people stared blankly at Wang Ting. They didn't know what was happening. However, some people noticed the issue and their gazes flickered slightly. This person had an incredibly powerful physical body. Wang Ting didn't care about their gazes. He looked at his attributes board. Ancient God's Body, Unknown 5350030000, 3-star. This was the result of the lightning calamity tempering, which raised his attribute by more than 50,000 points. It enhanced the strength of his Ancient God's Body greatly, allowing him to withstand even more powerful lightning strikes. Besides picking up attribute bubbles, he also wanted to harness the power of lightning here to further refine his physical body. Apart from lightning element martial warriors, the majority of the martial warriors in Lightning Valley were those who cultivated their physical bodies. Then, he scanned the Lightning Valley and was a little surprised. Countless lightning pillars stood erect in the Lightning Valley. They were present to attract lightning. Martial warriors could sit on top and receive the bombardment of lightning. Not everyone was like him. He didn't need any external items to attract lightning and possessed a lightning physique. Those martial artists needed to rely on those stone pillars to harness the power of lightning from the sky. They could then either use it to cultivate their forces or refine their physical bodies. The reason why he had the lightning physique was because he suffered the impact of the lightning calamity. That left a trade of lightning aura on him. Normally, without the presence of lightning, nothing would happen. But, once he entered a place like the Lightning Valley that was saturated with lightning energy, he would definitely get struck. Even Wang Teng didn't expect this. This looks like the lightning rod I used in the past, Wang Teng thought to himself. Then, he scanned his surroundings, and his eyes lit up. As expected, there were attribute bubbles. Numerous attribute bubbles were floating around the pillars. Wang Ting immediately released his spiritual power and picked them up. Constellation Force, Lightning, * 1500 Constellation Force, Lightning, * 800 Divine Level Lightning Talent * 100 Constellation Force, Lightning, * 1200 Divine Level Lightning Talent. There was a Divine Level Lightning Talent attribute. Wang Ting's eyes shimmered. He was overjoyed. His lightning talent had reached the divine level, but he felt that it wasn't enough. He needed to raise it further. Talent would affect the speed of cultivation and enlightenment. Only with exceptional talent could one come closer to the heavens and the earth, comprehending the laws of origin with greater clarity. He was paving the way for the future. Currently, he only needed the universe-level talents, but he would require higher levels of talent in the future. However, higher-level talents were rarer. It was not something commonly encountered. Rather than hoping to stumble upon a higher level of talent, it was better to rely on gathering attributes to push his divine-level talent up forcefully. He only obtained a mere 100 points of divine-level lightning talent. It was insignificant compared to the 50,000 points he needed to raise his divine-level talent. But, this was a good start for him. He believed that there were many divine-level lightning talents here. At the same time, he also received many constellation lightning force attributes. Now that he had reached the cosmos stage, he could finally continue to raise his force attributes. That familiar sensation of constant improvement once again surged through his body, bringing him a sense of joy and contentment. These constellation lightning force attributes entered his body and turned into pure constellation lightning force as it entered his body. Then, he followed the instructions of the Chaos Constellation scripture and completed a round of circulation before they merged into his inner cosmos. They turned into constellation fragments, awaiting absorption by the black hole. Excellent. Let's continue. Wang Ting's spirits lifted. He scanned the Lightning Valley with shining eyes. There were still many attribute bubbles yet to be collected in other areas. He couldn't afford to waste time. It was time to take action. Get them. Get them. Wang Teng didn't waste any time. He immediately headed deep into the Lightning Valley and picked up attribute bubbles along the way. Boom. Another bolt of lightning struck his head. Wang Teng didn't care. He looked as if he didn't even feel it. Many people who were observing him were astounded. They found it unbelievable. Even lightning element martial warriors wouldn't have such an easy time, right? It seemed as though the lightning was tickling him. In reality, for Wang Teng, the peripheral lightning energy felt just like tickles to his body. It couldn't hurt him at all. Nevertheless, there were many attribute bubbles. The martial warriors on the stone pillars would get struck by lightning occasionally, releasing a few attribute bubbles. Constellation Force, Lightning, * 1000 Lightning Constellation Force * 1300 Divine Level Lightning Talent * 150 Divine Level Lightning Talent * 200 Constellation Force, Lightning, * 1800 Wang Teng collected attributes bubbles tirelessly. Just thinking about how his constellation lightning force rising brought him great comfort. At the same time, his divine level lightning talent was rising too, although it was a pity that not many martial warriors had the divine level lightning talent. Many people noticed Wang Ting walking deeper into the Lightning Valley relentlessly, and their astonishment grew. The entrance to the Lightning Realm was in the deepest part of the Lightning Valley. However, not everyone could reach there. Especially freshmen. They typically started their training at the outskirts of the Lightning Valley, gradually adapting to the intensity over time. Only when they were powerful enough could they approach the entrance to the Lightning Realm. The Lightning Valley and the Sword Storm Plain were like thresholds. They were gateways to entering the realm. Chapter 1762 Ancient Lightning Pattern, Divine Level Physique Talent. 3. Not everyone could enter the realms. While there were many benefits within the realm, there were also certain risks. The martial warriors entered it using their spirit as a vessel. This could help mitigate certain risks. However, if they were to die, their spirit would also suffer significant damage, which could cause considerable harm to the martial warrior. This was why thresholds like Lightning Valley existed. This person's physical body is very strong. He didn't stop even after walking for so long. The lightning doesn't seem to have any effect on him. Is he a physique martial warrior? Is he a freshman? I've never seen him before. Hes Wang Ting, the Wang Ting who entered the star rankings. It's him. No wonder Hes so powerful. It looks like the rumors are true. I wonder how far he can go. Discussions were heard above the lightning pillars as the martial warriors witnessed Wang Ting walking deeper into the Lightning Valley. Alongside their astonishment, curiosity arose about how far he could progress. They were all freshmen, but why was he so outstanding? I remember that among the freshmen, only Gallop managed to reach the 3,000 meters in the Lightning Valley on his first attempt. That's right. Gallop isn't just a lightning element martial warrior. Hes also obsessed with refining his body. That's why he possesses such formidable physical strength and managed to reach 3,000 meters on his first try. I wonder if Wang Ting can surpass him? I don't think so. Gallop has an absolute advantage in this area. Wang Ting might be a talent who got on the star rankings, but I don't believe that he can surpass Gallop. That's hard to say. Prodigies on the star rankings can't be judged by conventional reasoning. As he ventured deeper into the Lightning Valley, the number of martial warriors decreased, resulting in a decrease in the number of attribute bubbles Wang Ting could collect. What's wrong with these people? I've only walked 1,000 meters and there are already so few of them. Can't they step up a bit? Wang Ting complained to himself. His mood turned sour. He was happily picking up attribute bubbles when the number of attribute bubbles suddenly decreased. It left him frustrated and helpless. A few more attribute bubbles appeared ahead. Wang Ting immediately picked them up. Lightning Constellation Force * 2000 Ancient Lightning Runes * 100 Constellation Force, Lightning, * 250 Divine Level Lightning Talent * 180 Her? Ancient Lightning Runes. Wang Ting was stunned. He didn't pay much attention at first as he was used to picking up attribute bubbles containing either the Constellation Lightning Force or the Divine Level Lightning Talent. It became a routine after a while. He didn't expect to see a different attribute bubble this time. Ancient Lightning Runes. This attribute bubble merged into Wang Ting's mind, transforming into a series of intricate and mysterious purple patterns. These purple patterns seemed alive. They seemed to possess their consciousness and were capable of autonomously changing shapes, which was extremely peculiar. They resembled streaks of lightning that were born from the depths of the unknown. They appeared out of nowhere in Wang Ting's mind. A sense of ancient simplicity reverberated in his mind. He felt unusually clear-minded. At the same time, lightning patterns flickered in Wang Ting's eyes, and a burst of purple light seemed about to erupt. Fortunately, he closed his eyes in time so that no one could see anything amiss. What's wrong with him? Why did he suddenly stop? Could it be that he can't hold on anymore? It doesn't look like it. It looks like he had an enlightenment. Enlightenment? No way. You can achieve enlightenment after getting struck by lightning? Where's the justice in this world? Many people were surprised when they saw Wang Ting stopping. Sigh. Wang Ting slowly opened his eyes after some time and let out a soft sigh. He finally understood what the ancient lightning runes were. The ancient lightning runes was a type of ancient rune, but a very special one. Ancient runes were like a form of script used to inscribe the rules of the heavens and the earth. Ordinary ancient runes were the most common form of writing, while the ancient lightning runes represented the word lightning. Compared to the ordinary ancient runes, The ancient lightning runes was a type of rune that carried the power of lightning. It was said to be the manifestation of the origin of lightning. Modern runes evolved from ancient runes. They seem to have undergone some form of simplification, making them more accessible for learning and comprehension by a wider range of people. However, compared to the ancient runes, they had also lost some of the true essence of the rules of the heavens and the earth. For modern rune masters, it was extremely difficult to extract the most fundamental truths of the rules from the current runes. This was why the Grandmaster level was the limit for many rune masters. If they wished to progress further, they must study the ancient runes. This was a path that delved into the ancient past. Wang Teng only had this enlightenment after he mastered the ancient runes. Getting back to the topic, Wang Teng got a little excited after he grasped the ancient lightning runes. This was good stuff. Wang Teng was already proficient in ancient runes. If he could obtain a complete set of ancient array diagrams, he would be able to carve an ancient rune array that would undoubtedly surpass the current rune arrays in terms of power. Moreover, if he were to use the ancient runes to inscribe a lightning element array, its power would be many times that of an ordinary ancient rune array. To put it into perspective, taking a 6th rank Grandmaster level array as an example. If Wang Teng used the ancient lightning runes to inscribe it, it would be equivalent to the 8th rank and 9th rank Grandmaster level arrays. This was the difference. Wang Teng glanced at the attributes board. The ancient lightning runes weren't listed separately. It was categorized under ancient runes. Chapter 1763 Ancient Lightning Runes. Divine Level Physique Talent. 4. Wang Teng's grasp of the ancient runes attribute increased significantly. Ancient runes, 1123,000, well versed, but why are there ancient lightning runes here? Is there something special about this lightning valley? Wang Teng shifted his attention away from his attributes board. His mind was racing as he scanned his surroundings, trying to find the reason for the ancient lightning runes' emergence. Unfortunately, he didn't find anything. Even the lightning pillars only had ordinary runes on them. They couldn't even be considered ancient runes. Wang Teng activated his real eye and scanned every inch of the area. Suddenly, he discovered something and paused. He looked carefully at a specific spot on the ground. So it's underground. Wang Teng was surprised. He saw some ancient lightning runes underneath the ground, which were the same as the lightning runes he had just obtained. Is this lightning valley a huge lightning array? Wang Teng guessed. From a rune grandmaster's perspective, that particular spot happened to be a crucial formation node. That was why it was inscribed with ancient lightning runes. It had a special function. Clearly, it was the operation of these ancient thunder runes that caused strands of fundamental truths to emerge, leading to the appearance of attribute bubbles. Now that he had found the source, Wang Teng wouldn't let it go so easily. He decided to wait in place for a while longer. A few moments later. Constellation Force, Lightning, * 1500 Ancient Lightning Runes * 50 The number of attributes decreased. There are only 50 points this time. Wang Teng pondered in his heart as he comprehended the additional ancient thunder runes that had emerged in his mind. After absorbing them, he compared the ancient lightning runes he had mastered with those beneath the ground. He realized that he had fully comprehended the ancient lightning runes in that location. He did not stay any longer and continued forward. The crowd's spirits were stirred. They stared at Wang Teng, momentarily setting aside their cultivation. Genius martial warriors like them always pay special attention to individuals who are even more outstanding than themselves. Wang Teng continued to venture deeper. Unfortunately, he didn't encounter any nodes inscribed with the ancient lightning runes, and he didn't get any attribute bubbles either. It was disappointing for him. As he went deeper into the lightning valley, Wang Teng felt a hint of pressure. The power of lightning in the sky became more and more terrifying. Bolts of lightning struck down one after another, all seemingly aimed at him. Wang Teng activated the ancient god's body, using the power of lightning to refine his physical body. Immediately, much of the pressure dissipated. Boom! The lightning struck his body. Threads of lightning energy infiltrated his body, spreading throughout every inch of his being, including his most intimate parts. That felt a little refreshing. The chaos force surged out of his inner cosmos and swept through his body that had been struck by the power of lightning, alleviating the pain. 1,800 meters, 2,000 meters, 2,100 meters, 2,200 meters. The martial warriors around calculated the distance between them and Wang Ting silently. Their expressions grew increasingly serious. Everyone was shocked, especially when he almost reached the 3,000 meters mark. That was already the distance that Gallop had covered the first time. Was Wang Ting going to surpass Gallop? Wang Ting didn't know what everyone was thinking. He continued to refine his physique and collect attribute bubbles. He was completely immersed in his own world. So much so that he started walking slower than before. 2,800 meters. Is he at his limit? He's just 200 meters away. It's very close. 200 meters is a huge difference. The further you go, the tougher it becomes. The power of lightning is several times stronger ahead. Ordinary martial warriors won't be able to withstand it. I thought he could surpass Gallop, but it turns out that even Wang Ting can't do it. 2,800 meters is quite impressive. He is now ranked second among the freshmen. Many people thought that Wang Ting had reached his limit and were disappointed. However, just when everyone decided to look away, Wang Ting exclaimed softly. He noticed a different attribute bubble in front of him. Lightning attribute bubbles were usually purple, but the attribute bubble in front of him was golden red. It was not an ordinary red color. It was blood red. Moreover, the attribute bubble was just 200 meters away. They were very close. Wang Ting immediately released his spiritual power and picked it up. Divine level physique talent *220. The attribute bubble merged into Wang Ting's body, and he immediately felt a profound change in his physical being. His heart beat violently and his blood churned. His bones, marrow, meridians, flesh, skin, all of them underwent a transformation. It was as if he changed his entire body. It was a spectacular feeling. It was even more special than the feeling he had when he acquired the other physique talents. However, this transformation was swift. In just a few breaths, Wang Ting felt the movement within his body settling down, as if nothing had happened. Divine level physique talent, Wang Ting muttered to himself. He suddenly stopped in his tracks and closed his eyes to comprehend it. At the same time, several more bolts of lightning landed on his body one after another. A pure physical talent. Wang Ting bathed in the lightning's glow as he touched his chin and murmured to himself. He felt that his body had undergone some changes. It seemed to be more suitable for physique training now. This talent could also be considered a physique talent, but it lacked the unique attribute changes found in other special physique talents. Chapter 1764 Ancient Lightning Runes. Divine Level Physique Talent. 5. For example, the light physique increased one's sensitivity to light force and was very suitable for light element martial warriors. Yet, this divine level physique talent was purely a physical talent. Its greatest advantage was its physique, which was greatly beneficial to physical cultivation. After Wang Ting obtained the divine level physique talent, his speed of cultivating the ancient god's body would be 3 times faster than before. That was the difference. In short, divine level physique talent was extremely useful. Speaking of which, there's someone with divine level physique talent here. Wang Ting's gaze landed on the stone pillar where he picked up the attribute bubbles. He then walked over casually. This scene left the martial warriors around, who had originally intended to divert their gazes, wide-eyed in astonishment. What was going on? Didn't he look like he reached his limit just now? Why was he so relaxed? Countless question marks appeared above their heads. Everyone was perplexed. 200 meters passed in the blink of an eye. Wang Ting arrived under the lightning pillar, which was at the 3,000 meters mark. He stopped under the lightning and looked up. A burly young man was sitting cross-legged on the top of the stone pillar. Lightning continuously bombarded his body, erupting into dazzling bursts of lightning. I didn't expect him to be a physique martial warrior too. He's also a lightning element martial warrior. Wang Ting couldn't help but wonder to himself. But why is he muscular? Is this the side effect of the divine-level physique talent? No way, no way. I don't want to be like this in the future. Wang Ting instantly felt a deep sense of malice. This was his biggest worry. He certainly didn't want to turn into a rough and muscular brute. That was simply too frightening. It didn't match his handsome appearance at all. I feel like him walking further and further on the path of body refinement. Wang Ting felt helpless. However, he was soon drawn to the other party's cultivation and activated his true sight to observe. Finally, he came to a conclusion. The muscles had nothing to do with the divine-level physique talent. Instead, they were related to the burly man's cultivation method. His cultivation method involved continuously stimulating his entire body's muscles with the power of lightning, making them immensely powerful. This method was somewhat brutal, completely disregarding the consideration of one's physique. Wang Ting's ancient god's body was different. It was mystical, and its cultivation method was domineering yet gentle. It was different from all the other physique scriptures. This was why Wang Ting was able to maintain his original figure. All his strength was contained within every cell in his body. When he unleashed his power, though it didn't cause his muscles to swell, it was still exceptionally terrifying. He felt relieved. He continued observing the young man with interest. At the same time, he was waiting to see if any more divine-level physique talent attribute bubbles would drop. I didn't expect Wang Ting to reach 3,000 meters. It seemed easy for him. He didn't use his full strength. Then why was he walking so slowly just now? Is he playing with us? Come on, he doesn't even care about us. Anyway, he should be able to go further. He doesn't seem to have reached his limit. I think so too. Damn, this guy is abnormal. He even tied Gallop's record. I wonder if he can surpass the highest record left by the senior students. I'm suddenly looking forward to it. The group of martial warriors finally accepted the fact after seeing Wang Ting reaching the 3,000 meters mark. They looked at each other in astonishment. Gallop was bathing in lightning when he suddenly noticed a gaze on him. He furrowed his brows and opened his eyes. He looked around and saw no one. What was going on? Who was watching him? Gallop felt a little puzzled. From the corner of his eye, he suddenly caught a sudden glimpse of someone right below him. He looked down and saw a young man standing under the lightning pillar. He was looking at him strangely. The two of them stared at each other. The atmosphere became a little weird. What are you looking at? A moment later, the corners of Gallop's mouth twitched, and he couldn't help but speak up. I'm looking at the scenery. Wang Ting chuckled. Don't worry about me. Continue cultivating. Gallop's facial muscles twitched slightly. How am I supposed to cultivate if you keep staring at me? Where did this weirdo come from? Go somewhere else. Gallop took a deep breath. Fine. For some reason, Gallop heaved a sigh of relief. However, soon, he felt speechless again. Wang Ting walked to another empty lightning pillar, leaped onto it, and sat there cross-legged. He turned to face Gallop and continued staring at him with a peculiar gaze. Gallop felt like beating someone up. Hurry up and cultivate. Don't let me affect your cultivation, Wang Ting urged. Can you not look at me? Gallop said after a moment of silence. Oh, all right. I can't help but take a few more glances at you since you look so familiar. Don't mind me, Wang Ting smiled. Gallop. What do you mean by taking a few more glances? You were staring directly at me. Who looked at people like that? This guy doesn't have some special fetish, does he? Gallop tensed up and glanced at Wang Ting suspiciously. He heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Wang Ting closing his eyes. I hope not, or else I'll teach him a lesson he won't forget. How dare he try to mess with me? Although I have to say that I'm indeed a real man. Gallop thought to himself and closed his eyes. However, in the next moment, he suddenly opened his eyes. He still felt that someone was staring at him. He was certain that it was this person in front of him. It was definitely him. That intense feeling was unmistakable. But Wang Ting's eyes were closed. He did not open them, nor did he feel any spiritual power fluctuations. Also, when he opened his eyes, the feeling of being watched disappeared immediately, as if it was just an illusion. Gallop felt confused and closed his eyes. That feeling of being watched appeared again. Swoosh. Gallop waited for a moment and suddenly opened his eyes. Unfortunately, that feeling vanished again. The black-haired youth opposite him still had his eyes closed. Bolts of lightning struck down from the sky, giving the impression that he was cultivating seriously. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes. After a while, that feeling of being watched re-emerged. The veins on Gallop's forehead bulged. He felt like he was going crazy. The real eye is so useful. Wang Ting closed his eyes and activated the real eye. He was staring at the muscular young man through his eyelids. He felt that he had discovered a new way to use the real eye. Chapter 1765. Another record broken. Wang Ting's method. 1. Divine level physique talent * 300 divine level physique talent * 250 constellation force, lightning, * 250. Wang Ting looked at the attribute bubbles that dropped and smiled secretly. Awesome. Indeed, they dropped again. This muscular man didn't disappoint him. He released his spiritual power and picked up the attribute bubbles. Another 550 points of divine level physique talent. Wang Ting was elated. It looked like staring at this burly young man was a wise decision. Sometimes, you could only get wool from one sheep. This was because other sheep didn't have this high-quality wool. Divine level physique talent, 750,000. Wang Ting looked at the attributes board. The divine level physique talent had a limit of 50,000 points, just like the other divine level talents. That meant that if Wang Ting wanted to break through to the divine level physique talent, he needed to raise 50,000 points. This was tough. He only had 770 points now. It was far from sufficient. He needed to work harder to get more attribute bubbles. Wang Ting's gaze turned resolute. He continued staring through his eyelids. Gallop was amid his cultivation when the veins on his forehead bulged out once again. He had just managed to overcome the feeling of being watched and immersed himself in his cultivation, but before long, his concentration was broken once more. Who on earth was this black-haired young man? He was filled with confusion and resentment, but he couldn't do anything to Wang Ting. He was merely sitting nearby, engaged in his cultivation. He didn't even open his eyes to glance at him. Gallop couldn't find a reason to chase him away. He wasn't the type to create a fuss without reason. Thus, he stood up from the pillar, turned around, and leaped onto another lightning pillar a kilometer away. The lightning valley covered a vast area. Just in terms of parallel locations, there were hundreds of lightning pillars for martial warriors to use. Hence, Gallop decided to run away. He couldn't afford to offend him, but he could hide. The people around them who were secretly observing them were puzzled. What was going on? Gallop changed his position voluntarily. Looking at his expression, he seemed both angry and helpless. Did they fight already? And Gallop lost. Everyone started to imagine a secret confrontation in their minds. They were in disbelief. Wang Ting was so scary. Wang Ting was speechless too. He couldn't believe that this muscular man, who seemed so tough, would take the initiative to back down. It didn't match his image at all. He was prepared for the other party to become impatient and actively come looking for trouble. He would be able to take advantage of the situation then. What a pity. Did he figure out my plan? Sigh, I'm too kind-hearted. I never actively cause trouble. I'm always passive. Why can't things work out for me? Wang Ting sighed in his heart. With the other party voluntarily retreating, Wang Ting had no choice but to patiently wait for attributes bubbles to drop while he cultivated. He would pick them up at that time. It just required more time. Time passed slowly. Wang Ting used the power of lightning to temper his body while waiting for the attribute bubbles to appear. However, he noticed that the attribute bubbles appeared at intervals and didn't continuously appear. Moreover, the lightning here was insufficient for him. It wasn't enough to rapidly enhance his ancient god's body. Wang Ting thought for a moment and decided to venture deeper into the lightning valley. He could always return and collect the attribute bubbles all at once when it was close to dusk. After all, these attribute bubbles wouldn't disappear so quickly. Normally, he used his spiritual power, so if there was some distance between him and the bubbles, he could still pick them up. With this in mind, Wang Ting stood up, tapped his feet on the stone pillar, and leaped deeper into the lightning valley. Wang Ting is still advancing. His limit isn't 3,000 meters. It's further. Everyone showed expressions of confirmation when they saw this scene. They speculated that Wang Ting hadn't reached his limit, and now, it seemed their assumptions were correct. They felt smart. I wonder how far he can go. Many people silently asked. The highest record left by the 7th Stellar Academy is 5,500 meters, which is a full 2,500 meters more than Gallop. It's truly astonishing. I wonder how the previous record holder managed to do it. Can Wang Ting surpass this distance? Under everyone's gaze, Wang Ting flew further and further away. This time, he didn't stop. He went straight past 6,000 meters. Everyone was dumbfounded. In the blink of an eye, while they were still discussing, Wang Ting had already surpassed the previous limit and gone an extra 500 meters. Not only that, he didn't show any signs of stopping. He continued moving forward at an incredible speed. Finally, Wang Ting came to a halt at 8,200 meters. He landed on a lightning pillar and sat down cross-legged. He began cultivating his ancient god's body. Everyone stared at this scene in astonishment. After a long moment, they finally gasped in disbelief, wondering if their eyes were playing tricks on them. 8,200 meters. Oh my God, how did Wang Ting do it? Does the lightning have no effect on him? His physical body is a little too strong. Even Gallop opened his eyes and looked at Wang Ting in amazement. 8,200 meters. This was 5,200 meters more than him. What kind of pervert was he? At the start, he was a little surprised that Wang Ting managed to reach the 3,000 mark, however, such people did exist. Chapter 1766. Another record broken. Wang Ting's method. 2. Thus, Gallop didn't feel too astounded when he saw the black-haired youth before him. One wouldn't truly know who was stronger or weaker until they fought. But, from the looks of it now, 3,000 meters wasn't his limit. His limit was 8,200 meters. This was quite disheartening. Their difference was a little huge. Was the black-haired young man's physical body so powerful? Why couldn't he see anything? A trace of competitiveness appeared in Gallop's heart. He wanted to have a physical duel with the other party. Wang Ting paused for a moment, sensing a pair of eyes filled with fighting spirit gazing towards him. He opened his eyes to look. It's that fellow. What the hell? He suddenly looks like he wants to fight with me. Wang Ting was stunned. The other party didn't give him any reaction when he teased him just now. What did he do now to invoke such a reaction? Was it because he went a little further than him? Wang Ting felt bemused. He sensed that something wasn't right. Soon, he knew what it was. Wang Ting, you broke the record again. Round Ball's voice was suddenly heard. I broke the record again? Wang Ting was surprised. That's right. The record left by the 7th Academy in the Lightning Valley is 5,500 meters. You reached 8,200 meters, so you broke the record. Round Ball smiled. Is it so easy to break the record? Why do I feel that it's not difficult at all? Wang Ting asked. Round Ball. This guy is boasting again. By the way, aren't you supposed to be refining your 9 treasures pagoda? Why do you have time to come out? Wang Ting frowned and asked. Haha, this is a new feature I gained after advancing to the heaven stage. It's similar to a subsystem or something like your clone. It can provide you with assistance whenever needed. Round Ball chuckled and explained proudly. Is that so? Wang Ting widened his eyes in surprise. He found it quite remarkable. With this, even when I'm focused on my cultivation, you can still receive my assistance anytime. The subsystem will only notify me if there's something particularly challenging, Round Ball elaborated. Will this affect your cultivation? Wang Ting asked. Don't worry. I just need a little spiritual power to maintain it. It won't affect my practice, Round Ball said. Wang Ting nodded in deep thought. Now that you've broken the 7th Stellar Academy's record, you can try to break the overall record of the 7 Stellar Academies, Round Ball suggested. What's the record of the 7 stellar academies? Wang Teng asked. The Lightning Realm was a common realm shared by the 7 stellar academies. All students from the 7 stellar academies could enter it. Therefore, every academy had its own Lightning Valley. When Wang Teng learned about the existence of Lightning Valley and the Lightning Realm, he already knew about this. Hence, he wasn't surprised to hear Round Ball mention the records of the 7 stellar academies. 12,000 meters. Round Ball replied. So far. Wang Teng was surprised. Are you sure this is a record left by a freshman? There's no mistake. This record will only be recorded by the Academy's intelligence system when a freshman comes for the first time, Round Ball said. Alright, I'll give it a try later, Wang Teng said casually. Then suddenly remembered something. If I break this record, will there be points rewards? Entering the Lightning Valley didn't require points, but entering the Lightning Realm did. Thus, Wang Teng needed to accumulate some points in advance. Yes. Round Ball replied. That's good. Wang Teng's eyes lit up. He nodded and said, that will give me more motivation. I know you won't commit if there are no rewards, Round Ball laughed. Ha ha ha, if there are no benefits, who will waste the effort? Empty fame means nothing to me, Wang Teng laughed heartily too. Alright, I'll stop here. Have fun. Round Ball kept quiet after it finished speaking. Wang Teng looked at the muscular man ahead and finally understood why the guy was so eager for a fight. I broke his record. This guy is actually concerned about this. However, since the other party wanted to fight, Wang Teng wouldn't reject him. The chance to get more attribute bubbles was right in front of him. However, he waited for a long time, but the other party unexpectedly closed his eyes again. His hopes were dashed. That's it. Wang Teng felt frustrated. That guy really wanted to have a duel with him, but he controlled the urge. His tolerance was amazing. Wang Teng didn't know what the other party was thinking and he couldn't be bothered either. He began his cultivation. Boom. Boom. The lightning in the sky raged and plummeted down, striking Wang Teng's body. Traces of lightning power invaded his body. He activated the ancient god's body. The divine level physique talent started to come into play. Wang Teng immediately felt the great effect it had on his cultivation. The results were amazing. So comfortable. Wang Teng allowed the lightning to cleanse his body. To his surprise, he experienced an extremely pleasant sensation. It wasn't that the divine level physique talent would eliminate the pain when he tempered his body with lightning. Instead, with the effect of the divine level physique talent, everything felt smooth. The pain was still present, but his body's ability to absorb the chaos force to alleviate the pain was even stronger. It was as if every cell, every inch of muscle, and every drop of blood in his body were functioning, placing his body in a mysterious state. He felt both pain and amazing at the same time. The sky turned dark quickly. Chapter 1767. Another record broken. Wang Teng's method. 3. Wang Teng exited his cultivation state. He had an appointment with Yu Chichiao and the others to attend a public lesson tonight. Therefore, he had to stop his practice for the day. But, before that, he needed to break the record. He surveyed his surroundings and released his spiritual power to collect all the attribute bubbles around him. Then, with a swift movement, he flew towards the depth of Lightning Valley. Boom! A thick bolt of lightning descended from the sky, nearly 3 times the size of the previous ones. It resembled a lightning dragon. Wang Teng didn't receive it forcefully. He swiftly evaded it. Looking up, he saw the sky covered in an oppressive darkness. The space around was all distorted. The deeper he went into the Lightning Valley, the more terrifying the pressure emanating from the sky became. It was as if towering mountains were descending from the heavens, crashing down upon Wang Teng's head. Wang Teng had already crossed 10,000 meters and was heading towards the 12,000 meters mark. Who would have thought Thunder Valley would be this deep? Wang Teng was greatly surprised. Even at his spot, he couldn't see the deepest part of the valley. It looked like it would be impossible to reach the entrance of the Lightning Realm within a short time. Suddenly, he let out a soft exclamation. He noticed a few familiar attribute bubbles. They looked like the ones he picked up before. He didn't think too much and just picked them up. Ancient lightning runes *100 Ancient lightning runes *80 right, they are ancient lightning runes. A smile appeared at the edge of Wang Ting's lips. He was in a good mood. His mastery of the ancient lightning runes had increased, and he had a deeper understanding of it. Wang Ting continued to move forward. The faces of the martial warriors cultivating behind him were filled with shock and seriousness. They stood up from their lightning pillars and stared intently at Wang Ting. They seemed to have guessed Wang Ting's intention and were curious about how far he could go. If Wang Ting could break the record set by students from other stellar academies, it would undoubtedly be a tremendous honor for the students of the 7th Stellar Academy. 10,000 meters. He has already broken the record left by the 4th Stellar Academy, many people muttered to themselves. Every time Wang Ting broke a record, their excitement grew. They wished they could shout. 10,800 meters. He has broken the record left by the 2nd Stellar Academy. When Wang Ting surpassed 10,800 meters, everyone became thoroughly excited. There was even a hint of respect in their eyes. He had broken the record of the 2nd Stellar Academy. Come on, that was the 2nd Stellar Academy. It was ranked 2nd among the 7 Stellar Academies, making it only 2nd in terms of strength to the 1st Stellar Academy. Whether or not Wang Ting entered the star rankings, being able to achieve this was enough to earn their respect. The crowd held their breaths, wondering if Wang Ting could surpass the highest record set by the 1st Stellar Academy. That's right, the highest record was left by a senior from the 1st Stellar Academy. While many top records might not necessarily be set by the martial warriors from the 1st Stellar Academy, the highest record of the Lightning Valley happened to be left by a powerful martial warrior from the 1st Stellar Academy. This also indirectly indicated that the 1st Stellar Academy possessed the power to dominate the 7 Stellar Academies. But now, someone from the 7th Stellar Academy was about to break this record. No wonder the students were so excited. A record left by the 1st Stellar Academy was going to be broken by the 7th Stellar Academy. What a remarkable achievement! All the students from the 7th Stellar Academy would feel proud of this accomplishment. At this moment, Wang Ting also felt an immensely powerful pressure. Despite his strong physical body, he couldn't withstand the lightning might completely. His body became heavy and his speed slowed down. This time, it wasn't because he wanted to collect attribute bubbles. The pressure alone made his progress difficult. Wang Ting had no choice but to descend from the sky and walk on the ground. Step by step, he moved towards the depths of the Lightning Valley. Wang Ting turned grim. Interesting. Ancient god's body. Boom. His blood churned. An incredibly powerful force surged into every corner of Wang Ting's body. In an instant, his pace increased again. However, the pressure was still present. Wang Ting realized that upon reaching this point, the lightning power wasn't as terrifying as the lightning anymore. However, the oppressive sensation was almost comparable to the pressure emitted by that calamity lightning. 11,000 meters. 11,100 meters. 11,200 meters. Wang Ting moved forward, one step at a time. He was getting closer and closer to the 12,000 meters mark. He stared ahead, his expression determined. He could walk this distance. The warriors behind were also silently counting Wang Ting's progress. They were probably more nervous and anxious than him. They weren't as confident as Wang Ting. Until he reached that distance, even if it was only 100 meters away, the difference was still significant. 11,600 meters. 11,700 meters. 11,800 meters. He's almost there. He's only 200 meters away. All the best. Many people cheered for Wang Ting silently. At this point, they had let go of any thought of comparison. When the gap was small, they could still make comparisons. But, when the gap became too large, they could only look up in awe and admiration. Now, they hoped that Wang Ting could surpass the highest record and bring honor to the 7th Stellar Academy. Chapter 1768. Another record broken. Wang Ting's method. For, even Gallop didn't have the heart to cultivate anymore. He stared at Wang Ting intently. He didn't expect this black-haired young man to possess such a terrifying explosive power. He was known for his strong physique, but he only managed to reach 3,000 meters. He could have gone deeper, but the more intense lightning further inside was not suitable for his current cultivation level. That was why he stopped at 3,000 meters. If he went all out, he should be able to reach 7,000 meters. But there was still a considerable gap between them. He felt a sense of powerlessness. He wouldn't be able to reach that distance no matter what. Even if he used all his trump cards, it would still be impossible. Wang Teng raised his head and looked at the 12,000 meters mark right ahead. He smiled and walked forward. 11,900 meters. 12,000 meters. When Wang Teng finally reached the 12,000 meters mark, the martial warriors behind him almost cheered with joy. They clenched their fists tightly and waved them to express the excitement in their hearts. Sigh. Gallop let out a long sigh. He realized that his palms were drenched in sweat and gave a wry smile. He didn't think that he would be so nervous. Based on his personality, he would focus solely on his cultivation and rarely pay attention to these matters. Yet, this time, the actions of a stranger had managed to stir his emotions. It was unbelievable. But this fellow was a little scary. He looked at Wang Ting with a complicated gaze. Then, he tightened his fists slightly. A surge of competitiveness rose within him. It would be great if they could have a duel. Ahead, just as Wang Ting set foot at the 12,000 meters mark, a deafening roar erupted above him. His eardrums trembled and his ears were ringing. It was as if a massive mountain was crashing down. He stumbled and nearly fell to the ground. F***K. He cursed uncontrollably. Cold sweat dripped down his forehead. He finally understood why those who came before couldn't continue beyond this point. This pressure suddenly increased tenfold. Who could withstand it? If his physical body wasn't strong enough, he would have been flattened to the ground just now. He wondered if the senior who set the previous record got pressed on the ground. Wang Teng thought with an evil smile. So, here comes the question. Should he continue? Could he continue? Was reaching 12,000 meters considered breaking the record? It didn't seem enough. He at most tied the record. If he wanted to break it, he needed to take one more step. But this step seemed a little difficult. He couldn't even lift his feet, much less take a step. But there was a way. Dragon Blood Battle Physique, activate. With a silent thought, the divine flames entwined around his body, forming intricate patterns of blazing fire. The scorching heat radiated from within him, causing the lightning power around him to distort. The oppressive pressure lessened. What is he doing? The people behind noticed Wang Ting's actions and widened their eyes in surprise. A thought crossed their minds. Was it not over? Wang Ting felt the power surging out of his body and raised his head abruptly. A smile appeared at the edge of his lips. He raised his feet gradually and took a step forward. Boom. The moment his feet landed on the ground, Wang Ting felt the pressure on his body getting more and more terrifying. Boom. A terrifying lightning pillar descended from the thick clouds in the sky, crashing directly onto his head and engulfing him in a blaze of lightning. Gasp. The people behind gasped. They finally understood why the previous record holder stopped at the 12,000 meters mark. If he took another step, he would suffer such a terrifying lightning attack. They wondered if Wang Ting could endure it. Under the gaze of everyone, Wang Ting bathed in the lightning, taking one step, then 2 steps, 3 steps. The further he went, the faster he walked. The bolts of lightning followed Wang Teng closely without stopping. Only Wang Teng could understand this feeling. It was quite exhilarating. Amidst the lightning, there seemed to be flickering flames. Gallop and the others could see bursts of red and blue light emanating from within the lightning. It wasn't very clear. They assumed that Wang Ting was using some special method to resist the lightning, and didn't think much of it. With great determination, Wang Ting charged forward for another 1,000 meters. He reached 13,000 meters. However, at this point, he had to stop. He couldn't go any further. Every 1,000 meters, the power of lightning would double. With his current physical strength, even if he activated the Dragon Blood Battle Physique, he wouldn't be able to endure it. Forget it, let's stop here. Wang Ting shook his head. He had already used 2 divine flames. If he used a few more, he might be able to go further. But it wasn't necessary. He just needed to exceed 12,000 meters. He had already broken the record and obtained the points. He could leave now. Goodbye. Wang Ting waved at the lightning in the sky and retreated quickly without any hesitation. Meanwhile, an announcement spread throughout the academy. This time, the announcement spread simultaneously across all 7 stellar academies, not just the 7th Stellar Academy. Congratulations to student Wang Ting for breaking the record in the Lightning Valley for the longest distance traveled among all freshmen from the 7 stellar academies. Distance, 13,000 meters. Reward, 30,000 points. Chapter 1769. Another record broken. Wang Ting's method. 5. The announcement was transmitted to every student's wristwatch and immediately caused an uproar. The Lightning Valley's record has been broken. 13,000 meters. That's 1,000 meters more than the previous record. The record left behind by the 1st Stellar Academy was broken by someone from the 7th Stellar Academy. The 1st Stellar Academy must be embarrassed. Wang Ting. It's this Wang Ting again. I remembered that he just broke the Sword Storm ranking record previously. That's right, it's him. He just broke the Sword Storm rankings record not long ago and now, he broke the Lightning Valley's record. Is this guy a record-breaking maniac? How long has he been in the academy? He already broke 2 records in a row. The prodigies on the star rankings are indeed worthy of their reputation. Now, I'm convinced that he possessed the ability to enter the star rankings. Timothy, Yu Yuanrue, Ji Haochen, 3rd Prince Yu Yuanheng, and even Tu Xiaoba, Leng Qianxue, Su Jianchen, and Ling Yangshu from the Great Qian Empire were all stunned when they saw this announcement. F***CK, this guy is sick. Ji Haochen, who was cultivating somewhere in the 2nd Stellar Academy, looked at his smart wristwatch and exclaimed uncontrollably. This was not only his thoughts alone, but also Yu Yuanrue, Timothy, and the others. Wang Ting always exceeded everyone's expectations. Even in the stellar academies, he garnered a lot of attention. He wasn't overshadowed by the other talents. Unlike them, they were almost drowned by the countless prodigies from the various territorial domains in the 7 stellar academies. 3rd Prince Yu Yuanheng was quite lucky. Although he didn't enter the top 10, he was selected to enter the 1st Stellar Academy. However, in terms of treatment, it was inferior to the top 10 geniuses. For example, during his previous trip to the Uncharted, he only managed to go to the Cosmic Uncharted. It was not as good as the primordial Uncharted that the top 10 went to. 1 step behind and all his other steps would be lagging. He had already deeply experienced this in the stellar academies. Fortunately, he seemed to be blessed with luck. In that Cosmic Uncharted, he obtained some benefits and advanced to the Cosmos stage. His strength now far exceeded ordinary Cosmos stage martial artists. When he saw the announcement, his expression turned extremely gloomy and ugly. He squeezed out 2 words from between his teeth, Wang Ting. He hated Wang Ting to the core. If it wasn't for Wang Ting, he would have gotten more and better resources. He would have been the most dazzling prodigy even in the stellar academies. However, he now had to exert more effort to achieve his goal. The road ahead had become very challenging. This was all thanks to Wang Ting. But, he was doing well and shining brightly in the 7th Stellar Academy. How could he accept this? On the other side, Zhu Longshan was delighted when he heard that Wang Ting had left his manor. He intended to intercept Wang Ting and force him to accept the challenge. But now, after seeing the notification, he felt terrible. This guy broke a record again. While he was trying to provoke him, he went ahead and broke a record. If Wang Ting went to do anything else, he could say that he was running away and didn't dare to accept the challenge. But, Wang Ting went to break the record. What else could he say? In the end, no matter how he looked at it, he was a clown. Zhu Longshan was so frustrated that he wanted to vomit blood. After a moment of bewilderment, the numerous students of the 7th Stellar Academy finally regained their senses. Some were astonished, some envious, and others pleasantly surprised. Everyone felt very complicated. Wang Ting broke the record left behind by the First Stellar Academy and brought glory to the Seventh Stellar Academy. Many people couldn't help but admire Wang Ting, but there were also those who couldn't bring themselves to feel happy. They were all talents. They hoped that they were the ones that brought honor and glory to the Seventh Stellar Academy instead. But no matter what, one thing was sure. No one dared to say that Wang Ting was avoiding Zhu Longshan's challenge anymore. Involuntarily, everyone connected the two events. Wang Ting went to break a record and brought glory to the academy. Who would say that he was avoiding a battle? Many instructors and experts in the academy were also surprised expressions when they saw this announcement. The Seventh Stellar Academy took in someone good this time. He broke the record left behind by the First Stellar Academy, and it hasn't even been that long here. Could it be that the Seventh Stellar Academy, which has always been at the bottom, is about to rise? It's difficult. Just one person is far from enough, even if he is a prodigy on the star rankings. Ha ha ha, you're all jealous. Our Seventh Stellar Academy is definitely going to rise this time. Just wait. Wang Ting didn't know about all the commotion. He was communicating with Round Ball in his mind. The reward is 30,000 points. Not bad. Now that he had nearly 90,000 points, he should be able to do a lot of things. Points were difficult to obtain but easy to spend. Wang Ting returned to the entrance of the Lightning Valley and picked up all the attribute bubbles along the way. The other martial warriors came back to their senses and looked at him. They looked as though they were seeing a monster. The prodigies of the star rankings were genuinely terrifying. Wang Ting wasn't bothered by their gazes and looked at his attributes board. He felt that he had gained a lot this time. Constellation Lightning Force, 12,000 20,000, Celestial Stage 2nd level. After reaching the Cosmos stage, he still had to increase the levels one at a time. The first level was still 10,000 attribute points, and with each level, the upper limit would increase by 10,000 attribute points. Chapter 1770 Another record broken. Wang Ting's method. 6, however, the 10,000 points were 10,000 points at the Cosmos stage. The attribute value was merely a quantitative representation. In reality, a Cosmos stage force attribute was several times of a Celestial stage force attribute. Hence, if the force attributes were dropped from Celestial stage martial warriors, they would be of much smaller value. Fortunately, the martial warriors in the Lightning Valley were all Cosmos stage martial warriors. Wang Ting was able to pick up as many attribute points as they dropped. This allowed his Constellation Lightning Force to rise from the first level to the second level. Normal martial warriors wouldn't dare to imagine this speed of cultivation. The other new students just reached the Cosmos stage like Wang Ting. They wouldn't be able to reach the second level so quickly. The only regret was that his Constellation Lightning Force was the only one that had advanced to the next level. The other forces hadn't advanced, so they couldn't be merged into Chaos Force. To Wang Ting, the Chaos Force he could use was still at the first level of the Cosmos stage. Besides Constellation Lightning Force, his Divine Level Lightning Talent and the Divine Level Physique Talent improved as well. Divine Level Lightning Talent, 5250,000 Divine Level Physique Talent, 1350,000 Finally, it was the Ancient Lightning Runes. This was a pleasant surprise. Wang Ting didn't expect to obtain Ancient Lightning Runes here. After mastering the Ancient Lightning Runes, his mastery of Ancient Runes increased too. It was extremely beneficial to his rune attainments. Overall, the gains were not bad. This was his first time in Lightning Valley. Wang Ting didn't expect to gain much, but life was always full of surprises. After walking out of Lightning Valley, Wang Ting took out his spacecraft and was about to leave. "Brother Wang Ting, wait." A voice was heard from afar. Wang Ting turned his head and was surprised. "Brother Muscle." Brother Muscle?" Gallop was flustered and his face darkened. What kind of nickname was that? Ahem. Wang Ting knew that he had said something wrong. He coughed awkwardly and changed the topic. "What's the matter?" Gallop took a deep breath and didn't dwell on his nickname. "I want to challenge you." "Challenge me?" Wang Ting had expected this. However, he pointed at his nose and asked in surprise, "Why are you challenging me?" Because your physique is very strong. Let's have a showdown between men, Gallop said with a serious expression. Wang Ting. These words felt a little strange. Please accept my challenge. You have the strongest physique I've ever seen, Gallop said agitatedly, afraid that he would be turned down. Don't be anxious. There's already someone who wanted to challenge me. It's first come, first served, so, Wang Ting said. You mean that Zhu Longshan? Gallop frowned. That's right. It's him. Wang Ting nodded. You're going to accept his challenge? Gallop asked in surprise. He saw that Wang Ting didn't respond to Zhu Longshan, and thought that Wang Ting didn't want to accept the challenge. He was so excited about it. I have to go. How about this? You can go to the freshman leaderboard tomorrow. I'll fight with you after I'm done with him. Wang Ting touched his chin and said with a glint in his eyes. Are you sure you want to fight the two of us in a day? Gallop hesitated. This Wang Ting was too confident. Although he admitted that Wang Ting was strong, he wasn't weak either. Furthermore, if Zhu Longshan dared to let Wang Ting challenge him, he must be very powerful too. If Wang Ting wanted to fight him and Zhu Longshan on the same day, it would seem a little overconfident. Of course. Wang Ting nodded calmly. Our time is precious. Let's not waste it on waiting. Let's finish our battle tomorrow. All right, since you're so confident, I'll be there tomorrow. However, if you can't unleash your full strength, I'll find another opportunity to challenge you next time. Gallop was not a talkative person, to begin with, and he immediately nodded. No problem. I guarantee that you will be satisfied with my service. Wang Ting smiled and said. Gallop. What service? It made it seem like they were doing something indecent. He was a decent man. Gallop turned and left. He didn't want to talk to Wang Ting anymore. He still had to cultivate in the Lightning Valley. His physical cultivation mustn't stop for even a moment. By the way, my name is Gallop. As he entered the entrance of the Thunder Valley, he seemed to remember something and turned back to add that sentence. All right, I'll remember it, Gallop. Wang Ting nodded seriously. You should know my name, right? I know. Gallop waved his hand without looking back and walked into the Lightning Valley. This person isn't bad. Wouldn't it be bad if I made life difficult for him tomorrow? Wang Ting looked at his back view and muttered as he rubbed his chin. You have a conscience. Round Ball said in his mind. You can't say that. He was the one who wanted to challenge me, Wang Ting replied. TSK. Round Ball pouted in disdain. It asked, are you going to challenge Zhu Longshan? It's not that I want to challenge him. He challenged me. There's a difference. Wang Ting chuckled. Round Ball nodded. If Wang Ting challenged him, it would seem like he was inferior to him. He had no choice but to challenge him. However, it would be different if the other party were to challenge him. This meant that Wang Ting didn't want to accept the challenge and didn't care about him. It was Zhu Longshan who insisted on challenging Wang Ting. Will he come? Round Ball asked. It's not up to him whether he comes or not. Wang Ting smiled meaningfully. Send a message on the intranet and say, you're too evil. Round Ball had a strange expression on its face. He started this. Can't I continue? Wang Ting boarded his spacecraft and flew towards the manor. He was prepared to meet Yu Chichiao and the others. But it's interesting. Round Ball chuckled. Not long after, a message appeared on the intranet of the 7th Stellar Academy. It read, I accidentally obtained a body of the solar dragon race and am preparing to sell it tomorrow. Those who are interested, please contact me as soon as possible. Gasp. Once this news was released, the entire academy was in an uproar. At this moment, everyone finally understood why Zhu Longshan was fixated on Wang Ting. He took his clan member's body. How could he not hate him? Chapter 1771 The Multiple Uses of the Fatty. 1. The message Wang Ting posted on the internal web caused a huge commotion within the 7th Stellar Academy. This was a shocking piece of news. Come on, that was the body of a solar dragon race. To many martial warriors, the solar dragon race's body held significant research value. Especially for the adversaries of the solar dragon race. If they could get a body of the solar dragon race for research, they would be able to find their weaknesses and even provide strategies for countering them. This was precisely why Zhu Longshan was eager to retrieve the body of the solar dragon race. At first, he thought that Wang Ting would never release this information. The body of a solar dragon race martial warrior was extremely valuable. If other people knew about it, it would surely lead to unnecessary trouble. But, unexpectedly, Wang Teng revealed this information. This move caught Zhu Longshan off his guard. Zhu Longshan erupted in anger in his manner. Force surged out of his body and destroyed everything in its path. Wang Ting, you're looking for death. Angry roars came out of his mouth and echoed in the manner. TSK, Zhu Longshan is probably boiling in anger. Wang Ting is evil. Hes selling the body of his family member. Hes offending the entire solar dragon race. Well, you can't blame him. Zhu Longshan kept provoking him. If it was me, I wouldn't be able to take it either. Do you dare to offend the solar dragon race? I don't dare to. That's why I'm very happy to see someone going up against them. This is exciting. Will someone really buy it? Of course. Not everyone is afraid of the solar dragon race. That's right. The solar dragon race has many enemies. I'm afraid many people are contacting Wang Ting secretly now. If Zhu Longshan doesn't act soon, the body of the solar dragon race will be bought by someone else. Ha ha ha, even if he wants to buy it, has going to be taken for a hefty ride. Many people were engaged in lively discussions within the academy. Some took pleasure in others' misfortune, feeling that Zhu Longshan had finally met his match. Not everyone feared the solar dragon race. Previously, he kept pressuring Wang Teng. Now that he had provoked his anger, he shot himself in the foot. Zhu Longshan had messed up. Many were eager to see how Zhu Longshan would react. They felt that a good show was about to start. On the spacecraft, Wang Teng was resting with closed eyes when Round Ball's excited voice was heard. Wang Teng, a bunch of people have come looking for you. Really? Wang Teng smiled. Open it up and take a look. Immediately, a light screen unfolded before him, densely packed with communication requests. That's quite a lot. It looks like there are more enemies of the solar dragon race than I had imagined, Wang Teng chuckled. They might not all be enemies. Some might simply want to study the solar dragon race. After all, it's an extremely powerful and unique race with significant research value. That's why the solar dragon race rarely allows their bodies to be left behind, Roundball explained. Having a bloodline of such immense power does seem to come with its challenges, Wang Teng sighed. It's inevitable. There will always be people researching powerful creatures and things, hoping to find a shortcut to gain more power from them, Roundball replied somewhat ruefully. Wang Teng nodded and kept quiet. Such occurrences were not uncommon in the vast universe. One eventually grows accustomed to them. What do you plan to do? Reply to them one by one? Roundball asked. Let's leave them hanging. There's no hurry. Wang Teng smiled. There might be Zhu Longshan's subordinates inside. You're right. We should guard against him, Roundball said. The spacecraft soon arrived at the Cosmos Zone residential area. Wang Ting went back to his manor. The moment he landed, he saw Yu Chichiao and the others waiting for him at the entrance. You're already here. Wang Teng exclaimed in surprise. We saw that you broke a record in the Lightning Valley and even sent an impressive message on the internal web. That's why we came out to wait for you. We were afraid that Zhu Longshan might arrange for people to ambush you. Yu Chichiao looked at him and said with a strange expression. I guess I have to thank you. Wang Teng felt speechless. Are you even a human? Yu Chichiao sized up Wang Ting and clicked her tongue in wonder. Wang Teng's face turned black. What are you saying? What am I if I'm not a human? A monster, of course. Yu Chichiao chuckled. Otherwise, how could you be so abnormal? The records have been around for so long that no one could break them. But when they came into your hands, they were shattered one after another. Please continue with the praises, Wang Ting said. He seemed to be enjoying it. Yu Chichiao. Why was this person so thick-skinned? Ha ha ha, Treant Borit burst out laughing. He found this scene very amusing. He was increasingly finding his interactions with Wang Ting and the others to be quite enjoyable. Forget it, I'm not talking to you anymore. I'll choke to death sooner or later. Yu Qiqiao was speechless. Don't spout nonsense. I didn't feed you anything. Why will you choke to death? Wang Ting glanced at her red lips strangely. What's with that look? Yu Qiqiao's face turned black as she asked curiously. Cough, nothing. Wang Ting coughed awkwardly and shook his head. Strange, Yu Qiqiao replied angrily. She didn't understand Wang Ting's intention. Are we leaving now? Wang Ting changed the topic and asked. Chapter 1772 The Multiple Uses of the Fatty. 2. Let's go. The public lecture is starting soon, Yu Qiqiao said. They prepared to board Wang Ting's spacecraft. Wait for me, wait for me. Suddenly, somewhere in the distance, a panting and gasping cry was heard. Everyone was stunned for a moment. They turned their heads. They saw a chubby figure rushing towards them, looking extremely disheveled as if someone was chasing him. Phut, it's Wade. Yu Qiqiao burst out laughing when she saw his appearance. Why is he here? Wang Ting asked in surprise. He insulted the solar dragon race and has been trapped in his manor for the past few days. He's probably here to seek refuge, Yu Qiqiao chuckled. Seek refuge? Wang Ting was speechless. Suddenly, he shifted his gaze and saw many figures chasing after Wade from afar. Stupid fatty, don't run, stop right there. Shouts were heard continuously. Wade ran even faster and soon arrived in front of Wang Ting and the others, gasping heavily. Boss, save me. As he spoke, he wanted to hug Wang Ting's leg. Stop. Wang Ting quickly reached out and grabbed the fatty's collar, halting his action. If it was a lady, he wouldn't mind. After all, nothing would be lost. But this was a man, and a sleazy chubby one. If he let him cling to his thigh, Wang Ting felt that all his goosebumps would appear. In short, he was against it. Wade was already shorter than Wang Ting. Bending over, he was nearly half a body shorter. Wang Ting gripped his collar and lifted him off the ground. Wade could only kick his legs in the air a couple of times. Tell me, what happened? Wang Ting asked. They are Zhulong Shan's men. They want to catch me, Wade said hurriedly. Zhulong Shan's men. Wang Ting frowned and put him down. Stand behind me. I want to see what they want to do. Brother, I was right about you. Wade was touched. Move aside, Wang Ting said in disdain. All right. Wade immediately stood obediently to the side, but his mouth continued to babble incessantly. Boss, they went too far. They even insulted you on the internal web. But don't worry, I've already given them a piece of my mind for you. No need to thank me, I greatly admire you, boss. This is what I should do. But then, they got angry and pestered me for days. I couldn't fight them, so I didn't dare to go out. Today, when I saw the news of you breaking a record, I knew my savior had come, and the only one who can save me is you. Wang Ting felt like there was a swarm of mosquitoes buzzing around his ears. He suddenly snapped, shut up. Wade looked at Wang Ting's expression with a sly grin, and obediently said, okay. He didn't dare to speak anymore. Instantly, there was silence around Wang Ting. Yu Qiqiao and Treant Borit stared at Wade strangely. This fatty was truly something. He was able to make Wang Ting speechless. At this moment, the group of people who had been chasing Wade finally caught up. When they saw Wang Ting, their expressions changed drastically. They stopped a few hundred meters away and didn't dare to approach. Wang Ting, hand over the fatty to us, one of them said. Leave. Wang Ting said this word softly. You. The person's face turned green. Wang Ting was looking down on him. They were all new students, but he asked him to leave. He was looking down on him. If you want to fight, you can head over to the freshman leaderboard. Wang Ting looked at them scornfully. Chimph, don't be proud. You don't dare to challenge brother Zhulong Shan. Why are you acting all arrogant here? Another person snorted. Must I challenge him just because he wants me to? Who does he think he is? Wang Ting sneered. His gaze turned icy as he surveyed his surroundings and said, if you don't leave now, Don't blame me for being impolite. You. The martial warriors were intimidated by his aura. They were furious, but they didn't dare to say anything. I'll say it one more time. Get lost. Wang Ting said coldly. The martial artists' faces turned red with anger, but in the end, they left begrudgingly. The pressure Wang Ting gave them was immense. After all, he was a martial warrior as powerful as Zhu Longshan. They admitted that they weren't his match. If they acted now, it would bring them no benefits. They could only wait for Zhu Longshan and Wang Ting to fight. If Wang Ting lost, they wouldn't be afraid of him anymore. But if he won, they didn't dare to think about this result. The conflict between them and Wang Ting had already taken root. It couldn't be easily resolved. Wade immediately started curry-favoring Wang Ting after those people left. Boss, you're incredible. Just one word and they ran away in fear. All right, they're gone now. You can leave too. If they bother you again, let me know, and I'll teach them a lesson. Wang Ting dismissed the fatty with a wave of his hand. Don't say that, boss. I want to follow you. Please accept me, Wade quickly pleaded. You're not a beauty. Why should I keep you? Go somewhere else, Wang Ting said with disdain. Wade. Damn it. As a man, when would he be able to stand up? Ha ha ha, this is hilarious. You're an interesting fatty. Yu Chichiao burst out laughing when she saw the bitterness in Wade's eyes. We're both men. Why do we have to despise each other? Wade said softly. Let lost. Wang Ting was disgusted. Chapter 1773 The Multiple Uses of the Fatty. 3. Wang Ting, why don't you take him in? This fatty is quite talented. You might not know what he did a few days ago. He created a bunch of fake accounts and helped you insult Zhu Longshan. Even I felt happy watching it, Yu Chichiao suggested. Wade was surprised that this beauty was speaking up for him. He quickly shot her a grateful look and then nodded vigorously, saying, That's right, boss. I can help you curse people, I'm really good at it. Wang Ting knew about this incident. After Yu Chichiao mentioned it, he couldn't help but glance at the fatty and pondered for a moment. Then, he relented, Fine, since we're all academy students and from the Great Qian Empire, we can consider each other as part of the same group. But let me remind you, don't go around causing trouble using my name. If I find out, you'll be the first one to face my consequences. Boss, don't worry, I'm not that kind of person. I'm very low-key and always avoid trouble, Wade said eagerly upon hearing Wang Ting's agreement. Wang Ting remembered the fatty's style of doing things. That seemed to be the case. This fatty was extremely timid. It wouldn't be easy for him to create trouble. He nodded in satisfaction and said to Yu Chichiao and the others, Let's not waste any more time. Let's go. Yes. Yu Chichiao nodded. Boss, where are we going now? Wade asked curiously. To listen to a public lesson on spiritual cultivation. The person who spoke was Treant Borit. He seemed to find Wade interesting and gave him a friendly smile. Oh. Wade was stunned when he saw the other party's expression. He was surprised. A Treant. What a rare species. But, he looks so cruel when he smiles. They didn't waste any time and boarded Wang Teng's spacecraft. Then, they flew towards a certain part of the academy. Besides Yu Chichiao Borit and Wade, who joined them along the way, Yu Yunxian was also present. However, he had been quite quiet. He hardly spoke just now. On the spacecraft, everyone sat down in the hall and resumed their casual conversation. Speaking of which, why did you suddenly go and break a record? Yu Chichiao couldn't help but curiously ask again. I didn't. I just went to the Lightning Valley to take a look and tried it out casually. I didn't expect to break a record. This record was just too easy to beat, Wang Ting said casually. Yu Chichiao was speechless again. This fellow was too full of himself. He never stopped boasting. Wang Ting smiled in his heart. Pretentiousness is like the wind, always accompanying me. I'll feel uncomfortable if I don't put on a pretentious act every day. Speaking of which, when did I become like this? Wang Ting touched his chin. Boss, you're amazing. However, this time, There was another person beside him cheering for him. What's with that solar dragon race's body? Do you really have one? Yu Chiqiao decided to change the topic and stop talking about breaking the record. If not, she might feel the urge to give Wang Ting a headbutt. I do have one. Do you want to buy it? Wang Ting glanced at her and smiled. If you want to buy it, I'll give you a 20% discount since we're friends. Thanks, but no thanks. I can't afford it. Yu Chiqiao rolled her eyes. This guy was infuriating. Wang Ting, how did you get hold of a solar dragon race's body? Treant Borit couldn't help but ask. The solar dragon race's body was controlled by a dark apparition. I snatched it back. It's my spoil of war, Wang Ting said. A solar dragon race's body that got controlled by a dark apparition? Yu Chiqiao and the others were shocked. They didn't expect this twist. Then it suddenly dawned on them. No wonder Wang Ting had the solar dragon race's body. This was how he got it. Under normal circumstances, there would be no chance to obtain a solar dragon race's body. Dark apparitions are truly scary. They can even control the body of a solar dragon race. I wonder what race the dark apparition is from? Yu Chiqiao asked. Her face was filled with fear. Wang Ting told them about the devil mind dark apparitions. Everyone's expression grew even more solemn. This is scary. The devil mind race can enter the bodies of other creatures and control them. Wade shivered. He felt uneasy. Yu Chiqiao and the others had similar reactions. Their faces contorted with disgust. That means that the solar dragon race should be thanking you. Yu Chiqiao frowned. If they had been a bit more polite from the start, I might have considered helping them. Forget it, it doesn't matter, Wang Ting said with a faint smile, wearing an expression that seemed to say, it's not my fault, it's their mess. Well, the solar dragon race is used to being domineering. They probably never thought about thanking you, Yu Chiqiao remarked. But, the solar dragon race is indeed powerful. If you sell the body of the solar dragon race, you might offend the entire race, Borit said. Don't worry. I won't sell the body of the solar dragon race to others. It will return to the solar dragon race in the end. However, they will have to pay the price. Wang Ting grinned like a fox. If he sold the body of the solar dragon race to others, it would likely result in an unending vendetta, forming an irreconcilable hatred. However, if he just wanted to extort some money from Zhulong Shan, this matter would be confined to the younger generations. Chapter 1774 The Multiple Uses of the Fatty. 4. If the formidable warriors from the solar dragon race wanted to take action, they had to consider if it was worth it. His network of connections wasn't something to be taken lightly. Wang Ting was no longer the martial warrior from the underdeveloped planet who got bullied when he first came to the universe. You're quite cunning, Yu Chiqiao and the others finally understood Wang Ting's plan and remarked. As expected of the boss. You kill without shedding blood. Wade offered timely flattery. You're such a bootlicker. Yu Chiqiao was speechless. Ha ha. Wade scratched his head and smiled nonchalantly. The spacecraft soon landed in front of a building. Wang Ting and the others flew out of the spacecraft and he kept it. The building in front of them was huge. Just this building alone spanned a few hundred kilometers. Its architecture was remarkably unique, crafted entirely from an unknown metal, making it quite a spectacle. Each individual building could easily serve as a landmark on its own. When Wang Ting and his team landed, numerous spaceships also landed around them. Martial warriors appeared in the sky one after another. These people were also here for the lesson. Besides freshmen, there was also a significant number of senior students. When everyone arrived, they turned silent in unplanned unison, as if this place held an extraordinarily sacred significance. Let's go. The public lesson we're attending today is in Sanctum Building Number 7. Yu Chiqiao led the way ahead. She had already familiarized herself with the layout, so she wasn't exactly a stranger here. The Sanctum Building Number 7? Wang Ting repeated. This complex is called the Sanctum. It's where instructors usually conduct their lessons. It's considered extremely sacred, and there are many buildings here. Since we're new students, well be attending class in the relatively backmost building number 7, Yu Chiqiao explained through voice transmission. Wang Teng nodded in deep thought. He followed Yu Chiqiao to one of the buildings. Meanwhile, many other freshmen were also entering Sanctum building number 7. Wang Teng and his group joined the flow of people and entered the building. Inside the building were numerous lecture halls. The public lesson Wang Teng and the others were attending today was in lecture hall number 3. After entering the building, they directly headed to lecture hall 3. The entire hall could accommodate 10,000 people. At this moment, it was nearly full, with people occupying almost every seat. The moment Wang Teng and the others entered the hall, a notification about point deduction popped up on their wristwatches. I know that listening to an Eternal Stage instructor's lesson costs 300 points, but it still hurts, Yu Chiqiao exclaimed, clutching her chest in distress. Wade's fat face twisted into an expression of agony. He only had 1,000 points. Although he had earned some points by helping others with small matters on the internal web, it was still a drop in the bucket. Spending 300 points at once was taking a toll on his life. It's all right. If you don't have enough, I can lend you some, Wang Teng offered, not feeling much impact himself. He had nearly 90,000 points, so he wasn't worried about the expense. Wang Teng, we need to start our business quickly. If not, we won't have enough points, Yu Chiqiao said. It's my fault. I'll start immediately after I take care of Zhulongshan, Wang Teng replied hurriedly. He felt a little awkward. They should have started a while ago, but he was preoccupied with Lin Chuhan's matters and didn't have the energy to work on this. That caused the delay. You said it, Yu Chiqiao said. A gentleman's word is as good as a promise. I won't stand you up this time, Wang Teng reassured. I hope so. Yu Chiqiao glanced at him. Business? Wade's eyes lit up. He leaned over and asked, Boss, what business is it? Count me in. I'm good at doing business. Chapter 1775 The Immortal Seed Secret Skill. Zhulongshan defeated. 1. Wang Ting had always felt that Wade was frivolous even since they met in the League of Talents. However, he was strong. Otherwise, he would not have been able to enter the top 500. This was not something that could be achieved solely with cunningness. However, he did not expect him to have such talent. He only thought of him as someone timid. It hadn't been that long since he entered the 7th Stellar Academy, and he had even spent a month in the Uncharted. Yet, he managed to set up the Mutual Help Association. He was a talent. If he wasn't a talent, who was? Wang Ting looked at the fatty in a different light. It was very beneficial to have such a talent under his command. Even Yu Chiqiao and the others looked at Wade in surprise. This fatty accomplished something big without making a sound. Never judge a book by its cover. Tell us about your Mutual Help Association, Wang Ting said via voice transmission. The people in the hall were all Cosmos Stage martial artists with amazing hearing. It was not appropriate to say such a thing in person, so the few of them could only discuss it via voice transmission. All right. Wade was overjoyed when he saw Wang Teng's interest. He immediately smiled and explained via voice transmission. Interestingly enough, this fatty not only learned from being bullied but also gained valuable experience from it. As a result, he has a knack for winning over weaker individuals. In the Stellar Academies, many martial warriors realized the gap between them and some of the top geniuses. If they were to do it alone, it would be very difficult to survive in the academy. The fatty seized upon this notion and used a tone of shared resentment to ignite a collective mindset among the group of people. After much persuading, they finally formed the Mutual Help Association. Simply put, that was it. Wang Teng, Yu Chiqiao, and the others were stunned. This person wasn't simple. He was good at stirring up people's emotions. You could tell from how he had called the members of the Solar Dragon race worms. The cursing was right on point. It made the people of the Solar Dragon race stomp their feet in anger. If he said something else, he wouldn't be able to achieve such an effect. At times, Wang Teng found it rather puzzling. Was this fatty timid or audacious? Labeling him as timid, he dared to curse the Solar Dragon race. Calling him audacious, he turned hesitant when faced with challenges. He could only say that this was his unique way of surviving. Time flew while the few of them chatted. The time for the public lecture arrived. The surroundings, which were already quiet, now became completely devoid of any sound. Right at this moment, a tall three-eyes race martial warrior with a vertical eye suddenly appeared in the middle of the lecture hall. The layout of the lecture hall was very unique. There were seats all around, and there was a circular stone platform that looked like a podium in the middle. The three-eyes race martial warrior appeared on the circular stone platform. There was no fluctuation exuding from his body. He was like an ordinary person, but his eyes seemed to hold an expanse of starry sky, profound and boundless. The third eye on his forehead made it impossible for anyone to look at it directly. It seemed to have some strange power that could consume one's mind. An eternal stage martial warrior. A genuine eternal stage martial warrior. This is definitely eternal realm spiritual power. Wang Teng guessed in shock. His spiritual power was too terrifying. Even Wang Teng felt that it was boundless. In front of him, he was like an ant. Instructor. All the students immediately stood up and bowed respectfully. Sit. The eternal stage instructor nodded and uttered. After all the students sat down, he said slowly, "Today, I'll focus on the path of spiritual power cultivation. All of you have just entered the cosmos stage. Your spiritual power and force will be gathered in your inner cosmos, so your cultivation method will be a little different from before." This instructor didn't waste any time and went straight to the point. Wang Teng and the others perked up and listened attentively. They had already spent 300 points, so they were determined to at least get their money's worth from this. Some people say that the spirit is the soul of a living being, while others say that the spirit is a form of the soul. However, no matter what, the two are inseparable. Cultivating spiritual power is cultivating the soul. I liken the soul to a seed, and cultivating spiritual power is akin to absorbing unique substances from the universe, allowing this seed to germinate and grow, gradually maturing into a towering tree, with every branch, every leaf, spanning every inch of the body. The instructor's voice was calm and gentle, but it seemed to carry a magical power. When one heard it, it reverberated in one's mind, enlightening them. Comparing the soul to a seed. This was the first time Wang Ting heard such a novel theory. However, he thought it made sense and would be very helpful for his spiritual cultivation. The cultivation of the spirit was similar. No matter which method it was to strengthen one's soul. This instructor likened the soul to a seed. This was his insight, gained from evolving from a feeble life form into an eternal stage existence. Naturally, it held its rationale. Round Ball was also listening. It hadn't started forging its 9 treasures pagoda, and coincidentally, it happened to encounter this public lecture on spiritual power cultivation. It proved to be quite beneficial for it. However, it was a freeloader and did not need to pay points. Wang Teng felt that he had profited. He spent 300 points for 2 people to listen to the class. Chapter 1776 The Immortal Seed Secret Skill. Zhulong Shan defeated. 2. As he listened, Wang Teng suddenly paused. He stared at the instructor's feet strangely. There are attribute bubbles. A moment ago, a few attribute bubbles popped out of the instructor's mouth and dropped while he was lecturing. This scene was a little funny. The other party was an eternal stage martial warrior, but he was blowing bubbles. The contrast was stark. Fortunately, the eternal stage instructor couldn't see it, and the other students couldn't either. Otherwise, the solemn atmosphere in the lecture hall might have collapsed outright. Wang Teng didn't dare to use his spiritual power rashing to collect the attribute bubbles. He could only wait until the public lecture ended and the instructor had left before he dared to collect them. He stopped looking at the attribute bubbles and focused on listening. Time passed slowly. The lesson lasted the entire night. However, to Wang Teng and the others, it felt like it ended quickly. The eternal stage instructor from the Three Eyes race disappeared without a trace, leaving everyone with a sense of melancholy. Sigh. Many people gave a long sigh. There were also many people with smiles on their faces, seemingly having gained something. They left quickly, probably going back for further cultivation. Others frowned, seemingly half understanding. They looked as if they hadn't fully grasped the concept. Wang Teng stood up and scanned his surroundings. A smile appeared at the edge of his lips. So many attribute bubbles. Besides the round podium in the middle, attribute bubbles were floating around the seats too. Get them. Wang Teng released his spiritual power without any hesitation. The instructor had already left, so he had no reason to hold back. Universe Realm Enlightenment * 100 Cosmos Realm Spirit * 120 Cosmos Realm Spirit * 200 Cosmos Realm Spirit * 1800 Universe Realm Enlightenment * 1200 Cosmos Realm Spirit * 2500 Immortal Seed. Secret Skill * 100 Immortal Seed. Secret Skill * 150 Wang Teng absorbed the attribute bubbles one by one. Large amounts of spirit and enlightenment attributes merged into Wang Teng's mind, causing his eyes to grow increasingly radiant. Great! Wang Teng was overjoyed. With so many spirit attributes, his spiritual power increased exponentially. It increased by more than 10,000 points. He glanced at the attributes board. Spirit, 15700200000, Cosmos Realm. Wang Teng had just reached the Cosmos Realm, so his spiritual power had yet to improve. He hadn't expected such benefits from attending this lecture. The increase in attribute values at this point had nearly pushed his spiritual power to the brink of reaching the next Cosmos level. It was an impressive gain. Next was the Universe Realm Enlightenment. It also saw an improvement. The students in the stellar academies were all talents with great enlightenment. Therefore, after listening to the lecture, they dropped a substantial amount of Universe Realm Enlightenment. Enlightenment, 115600300000, Universe level. His enlightenment attribute had already increased by more than 100,000 points in the chaotic Uncharted. This time, it increased by more than 10,000 points, causing another huge rise. However, what caught his utmost attention wasn't the spirit or enlightenment attributes, but rather another exceedingly unique attribute. As these various attribute bubbles merged into Wang Teng's mind, a special skill slowly revealed itself. It's a spiritual secret skill. Immortal the Seed secret skill. Wang Teng was surprised. He involuntarily closed his eyes, carefully sensing and comprehending it. He found it incredible. Planting spiritual power like a seed, allowing it to take root and sprout, ultimately yielding a harvest. This is a cultivation method. It's also a means of attack. If implanted within someone else's inner cosmos, it can stealthily drain their spiritual power, or even their soul, without them realizing it. When the spiritual seed is reclaimed, the spiritual energy within it can be absorbed and utilized. This is so interesting. Wang Teng opened his eyes abruptly. He was flabbergasted. This must be the instructor's secret skill. That wasn't just his insight. He has even created a secret skill. Eternal stage martial warriors are truly terrifying. But this secret skill seems rather evil. If used only within one's own inner cosmos, it's just an alternative method of cultivation. But if implanted in someone else's inner cosmos, it's practically a form of plunder. It feels worse than me picking up dropped attribute bubbles. At least I'm picking up what others dropped. Has practically seizing them forcibly. Wang Teng felt a tingling sensation on his scalp and a shiver down his spine when he thought about this. The most terrifying aspect of this technique was that the implanted spiritual seed was incredibly subtle. Some individuals might not even realize it, unknowingly having their spiritual power drained until their spirits withered and they perished. Even if it was discovered, it would be difficult to eradicate it unless the person who planted the seed personally intervened or an individual with far superior spiritual cultivation removed it forcefully. However, this approach was highly dangerous and could easily harm one's spiritual foundation. Spirit was inherently of utmost importance. Once damaged, the consequences become extremely troublesome. Wang Teng shook his head. He suddenly thought of something similar to the spiritual seed parasites. The characteristics of these spiritual seeds undeniably bore a striking resemblance to parasites. Just the thought of having something like that within one's body sent shivers down the spine. Wang Teng's wariness stemmed from the fact that he only gained a few hundred points of the Immortal Seed secret skill. It was barely at the foundation stage. What's more, this secret skill was incomplete. Wang Ting hadn't grasped this secret skill. He only knew its existence and had some understanding of it. Immortal Seed Secret Skill, incomplete 455,000, Foundation. Chapter 1777 The Immortal Seed Secret Skill. Zhu Longshan defeated. 3. After picking up all the attribute bubbles around the round podium, Wang Ting only received 450 points of the attribute. He was disappointed. Most importantly, it was incomplete, so he couldn't practice it now. However, it was understandable. The Eternal Stage instructor didn't explain this secret skill directly, so he wouldn't drop the complete attribute of this skill. Just the foundation level requires 5,000 points. This is truly not an ordinary skill. Wang Ting glanced at his attributes board and sighed. If there are more lectures by instructors like this in the future, he'll definitely attend them. Although he felt that this secret skill was a little evil, it didn't stop him from wanting to learn it. Turning himself into the source of the fear was the best way to overcome it. It might sound long, but everything happened within a few breaths. Wang Ting stood up, preparing to leave with Yu Qiqiao and the others. It was worth the 300 points. Yu Qiqiao exclaimed. Yes, the lecture of the Eternal Stage instructor is enlightening. I feel that 300 points is a good bargain. Borit nodded in agreement. Getting an Eternal Stage martial warrior to give a lecture outside of the Stellar Academies would probably be expensive, Wade chimed in. Looks like the Academy's points are more valuable than we initially thought, Wang Ting mused. In the past, some people wanted to use energy stones to exchange for points. The exchange ratio even reached as high as 1/7 level energy stone for a few points. Wade, well informed as ever, revealed a surprising piece of information. Really? A 7th level energy stone for a few points? These people are crazy, Yu Qiqiao exclaimed. It's nothing surprising. Many people have impressive backgrounds and solid foundations outside the academy. Energy stones are easily purchasable using UC. It's just a currency. However, within the academy, points are needed for everything. Without points, you can't do anything. It's normal that they are willing to exchange energy stones for points. After all, the value of the various benefits within the academy is beyond what energy stones can measure, Wade explained with a smirk. There was shrewdness gleaming in his eyes. Fatty, you know quite a lot. Wang Ting glanced at him and smiled. Haha, it's just some insider information. Wade chuckled. As they conversed, they headed out of the building. Meanwhile, in a mysterious location within the academy, islands floated in the void. Distinct architectural complexes existed on every island. Antique, luxurious, grand. Each of these structures possessed its uniqueness, and nearly every island had different types of buildings. The Eternal Stage martial warrior from the Three Eyes race who gave the lecture just now landed on one of the islands. He was heading towards his residence. That's right. These islands were where the instructors of the academy lived. Every island represented an Eternal Stage or above martial warrior. The Eternal Stage martial warrior from the Three Eyes race came in front of a huge castle. The gate of the castle opened immediately. A group of guards stood at the side and saluted immediately. Sir. The majority of these guards were at the Universe Stage. This was unbelievable. The Eternal Stage martial warrior from the Three Eyes race nodded and walked into the castle. Lias, did you give a lecture to the freshmen again? A voice came from outside. Zack. The Eternal Stage martial warrior from the Three Eyes race turned and asked in surprise, when did you come back? I just came back and got some good wine. That's why I came straight to find you for a drink. The person called Zack was an Eternal Stage martial warrior too. He was clad in dark, fearsome battle armor and was tall and muscular. There was a massive horn protruding from his forehead. It was a distinctive feature. If Wang Ting was here, he would recognize this person. This man was a formidable martial warrior from the giant horn race with extremely powerful metal talent. There's wine. Lias' eyes lit up. Seems like you had a good haul this time. Ha ha ha, I knew that you wouldn't be able to reject me. Zack burst out laughing. Come, let's talk inside. Laius gestured. Did you find any promising candidates this time? Zack asked as he walked into the castle confidently. He was clearly a frequent visitor. There might be one in this batch. His spiritual power is quite strong, Laius replied. A figure appeared in his mind. Really? Zack was surprised. Someone managed to catch your attention? His spiritual power is sufficiently strong, but whether he's suitable for my skill is still uncertain. Laius shook his head. You're right. Your secret skill is unconventional. Normal people won't be able to practice it. Zack agreed. The two of them stepped into the castle and their voices gradually disappeared. The guards and servants behind them kept their heads bowed respectfully until the two disappeared from their sight. Wang Teng and the others walked out of the building. Suddenly, they heard a cold snort. Wang Ting, I thought you were going to hide again. Wang Ting turned his head and saw Zhulong Shan approaching with a group of people behind him. They were staring at him coldly. Hey, isn't that person? Wang Ting looked at Zhulong Shan with a puzzled expression, pretending not to remember. Zhulong Shan's face turned black. He said coldly, Wang Ting, you should know why I'm here. Spare me the nonsense and return me the body of the solar dragon race. If not, you will suffer the wrath of my solar dragon race. Chapter 1778 The Immortal Seed Secret Skill. Zhulong Shan defeated. 4. I'm sorry. That's mine. Why should I give it to you for free? Wang Teng chuckled. You're looking for death. Zhulong Shan shouted in anger. Do you dare to fight here? Wang Ting looked at him contemptuously. The members of the Academy's Arbitration Association were present in the vicinity. Zhulong Shan suffered once, so he wouldn't allow it to happen again. However, this made him even more frustrated. How dare you auction the body of the solar dragon race? Aren't you afraid of offending the solar dragon race? Zhulong Shan said fiercely. I'm sorry. I don't care. Wang Teng replied nonchalantly. Although he didn't want to have an endless feud with the solar dragon race, he couldn't afford to appear weak at this moment. He needed to stand firm. Otherwise, Zhulong Shan might think he was afraid. Zhulong Shan furrowed his brows. This bastard was completely unpredictable. He couldn't see any hint of fear on Wang Ting's face. He was unable to do anything to his stubborn fellow. Maybe you should think about your situation first. If I were to sell that body to your solar dragon race's enemy, will the elders from your race spare you? You might be the first person they want to take care of, Wang Teng smirked. You. Zhulong Shan struck in a sore spot. He didn't feel good. What Wang Teng said was exactly what he didn't want to face. He wasn't afraid of Wang Teng, but he was deeply concerned about the punishments he might receive from his race. This embarrassing situation was clearly a result of his mishandling. If his family knew about this, he might have to face dire consequences. Letting the body of a solar dragon race fall into the hands of outsiders was a massive humiliation and a potential threat. If you had spoken to me properly, I might have returned the body to your solar dragon race. Unfortunately, Wang Ting shook his head, feigning regret. This sentence was a direct blow to Zhulong Shan. Countless swear words appeared in his mind. He was on the verge of spitting blood due to frustration. So he was the one who made this straightforward matter so complicated. And besides, your solar dragon race isn't monolithic. If I were to hand over that body to another solar dragon race martial warrior, I'm sure he will be quite appreciative, Wang Teng added. Zhulong Shan's face turned as black as the bottom of a pot. Wang Teng's words pierced right through his heart, making his breath quicken. He was fuming. Yu Chiqiao looked at Zhulong Shan with sympathy. If this guy had known Wang Ting's personality earlier, he probably wouldn't have escalated the situation to this point. Unfortunately, it was too late. He had to suffer the consequences of his actions. Wade felt satisfied when he saw the frustrated expression on Zhulong Shan's face. He praised his boss in his heart. As expected of my boss. He managed to anger the arrogant Zhulong Shan with just a few words. I didn't choose the wrong person. What do you want? Zhulong Shan took a deep breath and lowered his voice. Nothing much. That body isn't of much use to me, but there are plenty of people interested in buying it. It's just a matter of who's willing to offer a better deal, Wang Teng replied with a smile as he flicked his finger. Zhu Longshan. This bastard is trying to extort him. Zhu Longshan saw Wang Teng's actions and immediately knew what he wanted to do. Tell me, how much do you want? I'm sorry. I don't plan to sell it to you, Wang Teng said. Are you playing with me? Zhu Longshan's expression stiffened. His voice filled with anger. Yes, you finally realized it, Wang Teng grinned. Zhu Longshan wanted to punch Wang Ting when he saw his smile, but I will bear with it. I will bear with it. I must bear with it. This bastard did it on purpose. I mustn't fall into his trap. He glanced around him and saw the members of the Academy's Arbitration Association watching him from afar. He controlled his anger. Impulsiveness was a devil. He must solve this matter today. If not, the body might be bought by someone else. Yu Qiqiao and the others found it hard to hold back their amusement when they saw Zhu Longshan going crazy but was unable to do anything to Wang Teng. It was quite funny. In the past, Zhu Longshan was all high and mighty, but now, he looked utterly exasperated. His expression was comical. Well, if you really want to buy it, it's not entirely impossible, Wang Teng finally said slowly, seeing that the timing was right. Zhu Longshan didn't reply to him. He looked at him with suspicion. You don't seem interested. All right, I won't say anything more. Wang Ting acted surprised and pretended to leave. Tell me. Zhu Longshan gritted his teeth. That's more like it. You're still young, don't be so stubborn all the time. You will suffer easily. You need to learn from your mistakes, Wang Ting spoke in a tone reminiscent of an elder. What are you trying to say? Zhu Longshan was on the verge of breaking down. All right, since you insist, let's get to the point, Wang Teng continued. You wanted me to challenge you, right? Now, I'll give you a chance. Challenge me. If you defeat me, I'll give you that body of the solar dragon race. Oh right, remember to announce on the internal web that you're challenging me. Zhu Longshan's face turned green and white in anger. Humiliation. This was an outright humiliation. In the past, he wanted Wang Teng to challenge him. Now, Wang Teng wanted him to propose the challenge and even announce it on the Academy's internal web. This was a slap in his face. I've given you the chance. Whether you can seize it or not, it's up to you, Wang Teng said. Fine, I agree. I will immediately announce on the internal web that I'm challenging you, and well head to the freshman leaderboard. Zhu Longshan clenched his fist and replied immediately. He was also a tough character. Without giving Wang Ting a chance to object, he instantly announced the challenge on the internal web. You're decisive. Wang Ting gave him a thumbs up. Then, he extended his hand and said, however, there's a fee for challenging me. Just a modest fee of 30,000 points. Thank you. Fart. Zhu Longshan felt his blood boiling. He almost vomited a mouth of blood. Chapter 1779 Torturing the Snake. Shame of the Solar Dragon Race. 1. In the end, Zhu Longshan reluctantly paid Wang Teng 30,000 points. He had already issued the challenge announcement on the internal web. In order to get that body, he had to swallow his pride and anger for the moment. But, where did he get so many points from? Wang Teng earned over 30,000 points because he got on the star rankings and broke 2 records in succession. But, Zhu Longshan was also able to produce 30,000 points. This was surprising. Wang Teng felt that he might have sold himself short after receiving the 30,000 points. He should have demanded more. Zhu Longshan seemed like a good victim. Yu Qiqiao and the others sympathized with Zhu Longshan. Wang Teng's tactics were unfolding one after another, and it was beyond anyone's imagination. Anyone who met him was unlucky. I've given you the points. Can we head to the freshman leaderboard now? Zhu Longshan suppressed his anger and said coldly. When he reached the freshman leaderboard, he must trample this bastard under his feet. There was a limit to one's patience, and he had reached his. This fellow extorted 30,000 points from him. What an evil fellow. No problem. Since you're so sincere, let's go now. Wang Teng nodded and smiled. The group of them headed straight to the freshman leaderboard. At the same time, the people in the academy got excited when they saw the announcement made by Zhu Longshan. They quickly gathered around the freshman leaderboard. Oh my god, they're finally starting. I've been waiting forever. But why is Zhu Longshan challenging Wang Ting? Wasn't he the one who kept demanding that Wang Ting challenge him? Haha, Wang Ting is ruthless. He's selling a body of the solar dragon race. Zhu Longshan must be furious. Zhu Longshan has such a difficult life. He pestered Wang Ting for so long, but it turns out he's the clown. This is embarrassing. He can only salvage his reputation by defeating Wang Ting. Wang Ting is quite crafty. He knows how to deal with Zhu Longshan. He didn't respond initially and struck Zhu Longshan's weak point instantly after that. I refused to believe he didn't plan it from the start. Oh my god, now that you mention it, it really seems that way. It feels like he had everything planned from the beginning. It looks like it's better not to provoke Wang Ting in the future. He's a cunning individual. There was a huge commotion on the internal web. Some people had already rushed to the freshman leaderboard. The battles within the freshman leaderboard could be seen. One just needed to enter the freshman leaderboard. Wang Teng and Zhu Longshan's spacecraft landed on the empty ground near the freshman leaderboard. They alighted. There were already many people gathered around. Upon seeing the two of them, their attention immediately shifted over. Zhu Longshan's expression turned gloomy. He felt that these people were all here to watch him lose. Hence, he didn't want to linger a moment longer. He glanced at Wang Ting and took the lead, charging towards the freshman leaderboard stone plate. Ripples appeared on the freshman leaderboard and Zhu Longshan disappeared from everyone's vision. I'm going in too. Wait for me. Wang Ting smiled at Yu Chiqiao and the others. Be careful. The solar dragon race's talent is very strong, Yu Chiqiao reminded him sternly. She seemed even more nervous than Wang Teng. Don't worry. Wang Ting nodded and strode towards the freshman leaderboard. His speed wasn't fast, but in the blink of an eye, he had arrived before the freshman leaderboard stone plate. He entered without any hesitation. Wang Ting felt a sudden blur. The scene in front of him changed entirely. It was a vast expanse of whiteness, devoid of anything, giving off a sense of emptiness. He glanced at his body and found it a little strange. This was his spiritual projection, not his true physical form. When he entered the freshman leaderboard, his physical body had been stored in a separate space. Wang Teng found it strange and interesting. He didn't anticipate this magical process. He wasn't even sure when he was projected here. He felt that the instant he stepped into the freshman leaderboard, he got projected here. You're too slow. Zhu Longshan stood in front and said coldly. Why are you in such a hurry? Are you prepared to lose? Wang Teng looked ahead and asked calmly. Mitch, you're the only one who will lose. Zhu Longshan snorted. Choose the battle scene. You can do it. I'm fine with anything, Wang Teng replied nonchalantly. Zhu Longshan was infuriated by Wang Teng's demeanor. Without further ado, he changed the scene around him with a single thought. The once endless expanse of white had instantly turned into an expansive desert. Fierce winds swept and sand filled the air. High above, a massive scorching sun hung in the sky, radiating blinding light and intense heat. Quite fitting for the solar dragon race's style. Wang Ting observed his surroundings and a faint smile tugged at his lips. He was probably the outsider who understood the solar dragon race the most. No, that wasn't right. He didn't know the legacies of the solar dragon race. In addition to innate talents, legacies were one of the most complicated matters. Legacies with a long history would undoubtedly possess formidable inheritances. At the same time, many people outside were also rushing into the freshman leaderboard. They were in another space where they were able to observe the scene and situation in Wang Teng and Zhu Longshan's space. This is a desert scene. The scene here is a simulation of the real world. Its effect on the spiritual body is no different from reality. Thus, they have a significant impact on the battles of martial warriors. Chapter 1780 Torturing the Snake. Shame of the Solar Dragon Race. 2. That's right. Wang Ting will be at a disadvantage if he lets Zhu Longshan choose. Zhu Longshan is shameless. He chose an arena that best suited himself. After all, his reputation is on the line. He can't afford to lose. If Zhu Longshan loses this match, he will probably faint from crying. In the desert, Wang Teng and Zhu Longshan stood facing each other across the expanse. A whirlwind of yellow sand swept up. Neither of them uttered a word, yet in an instant, both individuals vanished from their original positions. Boom! In the next moment, an explosion reverberated in the sky. Wang Teng and Zhu Longshan suddenly appeared in the sky. They turned into two spheres of light and collided with each other violently, sending terrifying force surging in all directions. The two of them opted for a physical collision. They threw their fists and blasted them at each other. In an instant, the two of them exchanged more than a dozen punches. The reverberations continued to echo through the sky. The residual force swept through and lifted the yellow sand from the ground. Shock appeared on the faces of the surrounding students. Bang! Suddenly, Wang Teng and Zhu Longshan retreated after exchanging a blow. They glanced at each other from thousands of meters away. Zhu Longshan's expression darkened. Wang Teng, a prodigy on the star rankings, was indeed powerful. This is not enough. Zhu Longshan, isn't the solar dragon race known for its physical strength? Is that all? Wang Teng stood in the sky and said calmly, "Me." Zhu Longshan snorted coldly as dark red flames surged from his body, coiling around his arms. Wang Ting's pupils constricted. His gaze landed on the dark red fire. Solar Dragon Flame. The Solar Dragon race was a race with extremely powerful fire talent. The Solar Dragon Flame was also extraordinary. Solar Dragon Fist. Zhu Longshan roared. He transformed into a dark red light, hurtling aggressively towards Wang Teng. Before he got close, he threw a punch. Dark red flames surged, condensing into a fist imprint and smashing towards Wang Ting with scorching heat. Cosmos Stage martial warriors were very powerful. The fist imprint filled the sky, causing the surrounding space to warp under the intense heat, leaving behind streaks of white marks. Five-element fist. Wang Ting shouted in his heart. He executed his five-element fist. The water-element fist blasted out and clashed with the Solar Dragon fist. An ordinary water-element fist won't stand a chance against my Solar Dragon Flame, Zhu Longshan sneered. However, his expression quickly froze. Boom! The two fists collided. The dark red flames swept over but were instantly extinguished. The water-element fist erupted with an eerie azure hue, unexpectedly possessing a kind of corrosive power, mysterious and unfathomable. How is this possible? Zhu Longshan was stunned as he looked at this scene in disbelief. Nothing is impossible. No matter how strong your flame is, how can it be stronger than wonders of nature? Wang Teng laughed and launched a fierce counterattack. He punched forward and used his Water of Netherworld to counter his opponent's Solar Dragon Flame. However, even he had to admit that Zhu Longshan was indeed very powerful. Even though he had only just advanced to the Cosmos Stage, his strength exceeded that of ordinary Cosmos Stage martial artists. The Cosmos Stage martial warriors that Wang Teng met in the past couldn't be compared to him. Once these talented warriors entered the stellar academies and ascended to the Cosmos Stage, their power experienced explosive growth. Wang Teng found it troublesome, but so did Zhu Longshan. Wonders of nature. Zhu Longshan's eyebrows twitched when he saw the fist coming at him. He didn't know what Wang Ting was referring to. However, as he recalled the azure hue that emanated from the fist imprint earlier, his expression darkened. That water seemed capable of restraining his Solar Dragon Flame. Damn it! He refused to believe it. The Solar Dragon Flame in his body surged out even more intensely as he punched out again. Boom! 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 Explosions echoed in the sky again. The collision between the two sides shattered the space directly, causing pitch-black dimensional rifts to appear all around. From this, it could be seen how terrifying their strength was. But this time, Zhu Longshan was clearly suppressed. His solar dragon flame was ultimately at a disadvantage when facing the water of Netherworld. Zhu Longshan's expression turned serious as a huge halberd suddenly appeared in his hand. The dark red halberd was incredibly peculiar. Its long shaft was covered in intricate and mysterious runes, while its sharp blade seemed to be composed of dark red dragon scales, radiating a trace of scorching heat that blended seamlessly with the solar dragon race's innate fire talent. Moreover, the blade of the halberd exuded a chilling gleam. At a glance, one could tell that it possessed extremely terrifying destructive power. If struck, the body of an ordinary Cosmos stage martial artist would probably be chopped into two instantly. Again, Zhu Longshan roared as dark red flames wrapped around the halberd in his hand, causing it to emit a dazzling crimson radiance. Roar! He waved his halberd and the dark red flames condensed into a ferocious dragon head. It unleashed a thunderous roar towards Wang Teng. When Wang Ting saw that, a universe-level fire element spear appeared in his hand. He smiled and a torrent of emerald-glazed flame surged forth from within him. Roaring Flame Lion Spear. 10th level Ultima, go! Boom! A majestic flaming lion materialized and roared at the sky. Wang Teng thrust his spear forward at the colossal dragon head with a resounding explosion. The powerful battle technique of the Parker's family, now wielded by Wang Teng, unleashed a terrifying power. Oh my god! Zhu Longshan looked at the green flame with a horrified expression. He couldn't control his astonishment. Chapter 1781 Torturing the Snake. Shame of the Solar Dragon Race. 3. But before he could think further. Boom! In the next moment, their attacks collided. The huge dark red dragon head and the green jade lion clashed fiercely in the sky, erupting with terrifying fire power. A gigantic explosion could be heard. In an instant, dark red and green flames swept out. Force fluctuations swept in all directions. An incredibly fierce gust of wind swept through the sky, sweeping away and lifting the yellow sand from the ground once again like a tornado. Moreover, this tornado was wrapped in layers of flames. Zhu Longshan's gaze was fixed on the spot where the colossal dragon head and the emerald green fire lion collided. He gripped the shaft of the dark red halberd tightly in his hand, and veins popped out on his thick arm. The emerald green fire lion in front of him burst with terrifying power, making him somewhat unable to defend against it. Boom! Boom! The green flames completely overwhelmed the dark red flames. The scorching temperature swept towards Zhu Longshan, causing his pupils to shrink. Boom! Suddenly, the huge dragon head exploded. Even though the emerald jade fire lion had dimmed somewhat after the exertion, it still retained a sharp spear-like brilliance. It thrust towards Zhulong Mountain with fierce determination. Zhu Longshan's expression changed drastically as he swung his halberd and hurriedly retreated. But it was too late. Splat! The emerald green fire lion slammed into Zhu Longshan's body and instantly exploded, turning into green flames that swallowed him. The heat of the emerald-glazed flame was so terrifying that Zhu Longshan instantly roared in pain. Gasp! In another area, the audience witnessed this scene and collectively drew in a sharp breath of astonishment. Zhu Longshan's flames were wiped out by Wang Ting. These spectators were either from various large factions or experienced seniors. They were familiar with the Solar Dragon race and knew that the flames of the Solar Dragon race could not be underestimated. However, it could only resist Wang Ting's green flames for a moment before succumbing to them. Furthermore, at this moment, Zhu Longshan was engulfed in flames and was roaring in agony. It was unbelievable. What is that green flame? Even Zhu Longshan can't withstand it. Has Zhu Longshan lost? No way. Zhu Longshan lost so quickly? Zhu Longshan should have grasped the power of a domain. He hasn't used it yet. He can't lose so quickly. In the desert, Wang Ting narrowed his eyes as he looked at Zhu Longshan, who was enveloped by the emerald-glazed flame. Roar! A furious roar suddenly resounded, and the green flames erupted. A dark red radiance burst forth from within and expanded rapidly. Solar Dragon Physique. He finally used it. Wang Ting thought to himself. The reason why he did not defeat him immediately was to farm some solar dragon race attributes. So far, he knew that the solar dragon race had 3 innate abilities: solar dragon flame, solar dragon physique, solar dragon eye. He wanted them all. He wouldn't let any of them go. Roar. Reverberating roars continued to emanate, resounding through the sky. It was deafening. The mass of dark red radiance swiftly expanded to 1,000 feet in size. Then, a huge dragon claw emerged from it. The sharp talons were enveloped in dark red flames, exuding a chilling gleam that seemed capable of tearing apart the void. What's this? Many people who were watching the battle were shocked. Solar dragon physique. This must be the solar dragon race's solar dragon physique. Zhu Longshan was forced to use the solar dragon physique. What exactly is that green flame? Divine flame. Only a divine flame can force a solar dragon race to such an extent. Wang Ting possessed a divine flame. Yu Qiqiao and the others weren't surprised by the crowd's discussion. Wang Ting had already used the divine flame during the League of Talents previously. That was why they found it funny when Zhu Longshan wanted to defeat Wang Ting with fire. No matter how talented he was, could he defeat someone with a divine flame? However, Yu Qiqiao and the others didn't expect Wang Ting to become so powerful. He only used one move to force Zhu Longshan to use the solar dragon physique. Boss is so strong. Wade couldn't help but exclaim, his eyes filled with respect. He's much stronger than before. Even Yu Yunxian opened his mouth. Wang Ting defeated him during the League of Talents. Now, Wang Ting had ascended to the Cosmos stage and due to certain reasons, he had yet to make that leap. The gap between him and Wang Ting was widening with each passing day. He couldn't help but feel a little complicated. It's indeed very strong. Wang Ting's flames can restrain me too, Borit said fearfully. Didn't you want to fight him? What about now? Yu Qiqiao smiled. I wish to fight him even more. Borit scratched his head and chuckled. You're brave, Yu Qiqiao said with a strange look in her eyes. Wang Ting looked at the dark red ball of light in front of him. As the massive dragon claw emerged, a colossal dragon head followed suit, covered in intricate dark red scales. A pair of dragon horns atop its head hinted at a sense of nobility, while a subtle aura of power emanated from its bloodline. However, this dragon head was somewhat different from the real dragon head. It surprisingly bore a resemblance to a human face and there were still some of Zhu Longshan's facial features on it. Yet, it was covered in these dark red scales, presenting a peculiar yet harmonious appearance. Chapter 1782 Torturing the Snake. Shame of the solar dragon race. For, it's so ugly. Wang Ting exclaimed. Silence. Zhu Longshan glared at Wang Ting with his dark red eyes. Roar. The dragon head opened its massive maw, unleashing a deafening roar. A wave of heat surged out and gushed towards Wang Ting. The next instant, Zhu Longshan's enormous body shot out from the radiance. He had fully transformed into a ferocious dragon. He roared and charged at Wang Ting, tearing the air with his dragon claws. Get lost. A cold glint flashed in Wang Ting's eyes as he fiercely thrust his spear towards the claw. Clang. A metallic tremor resounded as the spear struck what seemed like an incredibly solid object. An immense force surged through the spear's tip. What a great strength! Wang Ting was thrown backward. He didn't expect the solar dragon physique to possess such terrifying power. Last time, when Devil Emperor Bearbrain occupied the body of the solar dragon race, he could only partially transform into a dragon. He was unable to display the true power of the solar dragon physique. However, the opponent was a high-tier Devil Emperor, which was equivalent to a universe-stage martial warrior. It was already quite scary. Wang Ting always could fight beyond his tier. But, this time, even though Zhu Longshan was also at the Cosmos stage, the power he unleashed gave him a sense of pressure. Wang Ting realized that he had underestimated the solar dragon race. Roar. Zhu Longshan roared. He coiled his body and swirled through the air. With a sweeping motion, he charged once more at Wang Ting. Suddenly, his giant dragon tail whipped forward. Boom. The dragon tail left a trail of lingering shadows in the air as it swept forward. The space around it burst, unable to withstand the pressure. Wang Teng snorted as he activated his ancient god's body. A pattern of golden lines emerged on his forehead. Blood churned within him and his power erupted. The spear vanished from his hand. Wang Teng showed no signs of backing down and instead advanced boldly, grabbing the sweeping tail with his hand. Bang! A dull thud was heard. Zhu Longshan's tail was stopped forcefully. It couldn't move an inch further. Roar! Zhu Longshan bellowed in anger. Strength erupted from his body. Wang Ting tightened his grip on the tail as the energy within his body flowed out relentlessly. But it wasn't enough. Both sides were locked in a stalemate. The power of the solar dragon physique was truly frightening. Even after activating the ancient god's body, Wang Ting couldn't move the tail. Dragon blood battle physique. The power of flames was unleashed. Flame patterns emerged on the surface of his body, exuding an intense heat that enveloped him. Hiss! Hiss! As he was pressing his hands on Zhu Longshan's body, Zhu Longshan could feel the scorching heat. His tough dark red scales gave off a hissing sound. At the same time, Wang Ting's strength increased dramatically. The giant dragon tail trembled and gradually rose. Ah! The next instant, Wang Ting let out a furious bellow and lifted Zhu Longshan's massive body into the air. Roar! Zhu Longshan tried to resist, but it was all in vain. His body drew a beautiful and graceful arc in the sky uncontrollably. Boom! Wang Ting swung his body angrily, slamming Zhu Longshan on the ground violently. Explosions were heard. Roar! Roar! Zhu Longshan kept screaming in pain, his voice a mix of anger and suffering. His massive form writhed and struggled desperately, attempting to break free from Wang Ting's grip. It was useless. His hands were like a pair of pincers, firmly clamped on his vulnerable point, rendering him powerless. Furthermore, the searing heat emitting from his hands drilled into his body like fire serpents. It seemed to be burning his body from within. Zhu Longshan was in disbelief. The ruthlessness in his dragon eyes was gone, replaced by astonishment. As a race with exceptional fire talent, he was being tormented to the point of near death by the power of flames. This was a humiliation. These thoughts only lasted for a fleeting moment. Soon, he found himself unable to hold on any longer. Wang Ting's frenzied movements left him dizzy and disoriented. His head was throbbing as if it were about to burst. He didn't have any mental capacity left to think about anything else. Boom! 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 After some time, Wang Ting finally let go. He threw Zhu Longshan on the ground like a dead snake. Bang! The enormous body slammed onto the yellow sand, kicking up clouds of dust. Silence. In the other space, the audience exchanged glances with one another. The silence was eerie. After a few seconds, so violent. Someone swallowed his saliva and stuttered. The solar dragon race got thrown around. How terrifying is Wang Ting's strength? No one believed what they saw. At the same time, they found it a little funny. The arrogant and domineering Zhu Longshan was completely defenseless. It was unexpected. This is tragic. This is a humiliation to the solar dragon race. Everyone sympathized with Zhu Longshan. This fits his style. Yu Qiqiao commented with a strange expression. I think I'm lucky that I didn't experience this kind of suffering, Wade said with relief. Does Wang Ting like to hit people like this? Borit asked awkwardly. He suddenly regretted his decision to challenge Wang Ting. No way. Yu Qiqiao was caught between laughter and tears. If you fight with him, he won't treat you like this. Really? Borit asked naively. Of course, he's not that kind of person, Yu Qiqiao said firmly. She felt that she was too kind. She helped Wang Ting to salvage his image. That's good. Borit heaved a sigh of relief. Chapter 1783 The Emergence of Blade, the Power of Heaven. Victory. 1. In the desert within the freshman leaderboard space. Wang Ting lowered his head and looked down at Zhu Longshan. He saw the attribute bubbles floating around him and smiled. At first, he was worried that attribute bubbles couldn't be dropped in this space. Now, he felt relieved. This space must be special since it could project his spirit and fully unleash a martial warrior's strength. Thus, attribute bubbles could be dropped here. In the past, Wang Teng was able to collect attribute bubbles within the virtual universe. This space seemed to share a similarity with the virtual universe. Wang Teng didn't hesitate and immediately picked up the attribute bubbles. Divine level fire talent * 1000 solar dragon flame * 1000 solar dragon flame * 2000 constellation force, fire, * 2000 constellation force, fire, * 1600 solar dragon physique * 100 solar dragon physique * 200 Hes wealthy. Wang Teng's eyes lit up. As the attribute bubbles merged into his body, he immediately felt the changes. The harvest was quite impressive. There were 1000 points of divine level fire talent. The solar dragon race's fire talent was indeed exceptional. Wang Teng's fire talent had already reached the divine level. With the addition of another 1000 points, he immediately felt that his talent had become stronger. Divine level fire talent, 6,450,000 then, there were 3000 points of solar dragon flame. They were thrown into the solar dragon flame in Wang Teng's inner cosmos. The flame grew stronger as if fuel was added to it. The solar dragon flame was quite powerful. Among all the flames Wang Teng had, the solar dragon flame was second only to the 4 divine flames. It was much more powerful than normal beast flames, rock flames, and plant flames. Of course, each type of flame has its unique characteristics and purposes. They couldn't be generalized. Since they were free, Wang Teng didn't mind having more flames at his disposal. Next was the constellation fire force. He gained 3000 points in total. It didn't seem like much, but it was a sizable amount. Zhu Longshan and Wang Teng were both first-level Cosmos Stage martial warriors. How much constellation fire force could he drop? Constellation fire force, 3000 10,000, Cosmos Stage first level, the last attribute surprised Wang Teng. Solar Dragon Physique. It was the Solar Dragon Physique. Last time, when the Devil Emperor Bearbrain took control of a Solar Dragon race's martial warrior, he didn't drop any Solar Dragon Physique attributes. Hence, Wang Ting was surprised at this gain. Was it because his Solar Dragon Physique wasn't complete? Wang Ting wondered to himself. It wasn't entirely implausible. Talents were different from battle techniques and scriptures. You could find incomplete scriptures and battle techniques attributes, but not talents. While he was thinking, Wang Ting sensed the additional knowledge about the Solar Dragon Physique in his mind. Similar to Zhu Longshan's transformation earlier, this Solar Dragon Physique could take on the appearance of a solar dragon's body, possessing formidable strength, defense, and more. Just the physical strength alone was comparable to Wang Ting's ancient god's body. This proved how powerful the Solar Dragon Physique was. However, after executing the Solar Dragon Physique, one would completely lose its human shape. This was a huge problem. Wang Ting glanced down at the transformed Zhu Longshan. He looked a little frightening. This wasn't what he wanted to turn into. He didn't mind transforming into a real dragon. It was at least more imposing and beautiful. However, the solar dragon looked a little unflattering. Wang Teng expressed his dissatisfaction. He would never transform. No way. At this moment, a slight change appeared on the attributes board. At the end of the Solar Dragon Physique and Dragon Blood Battle Physique row, there was a prompt indicating the possibility of a merger. Wang Teng was stunned. How was this possible? Upon closer consideration, it seemed logical. They were both dragons. They might be close relatives. Wang Teng chose to merge them. He wanted to see the outcome before making any judgments. The attributes board immediately changed. Solar Dragon Physique plus Dragon Blood Battle Physique equals True Dragon Battle Physique, pseudo. True Dragon Battle Physique. Wang Ting pondered for a moment and closed his eyes to feel the changes. He was enlightened. The fusion of these two constitutions into the True Dragon Battle Physique, pseudo, undoubtedly resulted in a more powerful physique. Its transformation wasn't the same as the Solar Dragon Physique. Instead, It leaned closer to the dragon blood battle physique. This meant that if Wang Teng executed the true dragon battle physique, pseudo, he wouldn't grow in size or transform into a dragon form. He would retain his human body, but dragon scales formed from condensed flames would appear. These dragon scales could enhance his defense, protecting his true form as long as the scales remain intact. The true dragon battle physique, pseudo, combined the characteristics of both the dragon blood battle physique and the solar dragon physique, allowing the user to unleash terrifying power. Its power wasn't just double that of the dragon blood battle physique. This was a combination where 1 + 1 was greater than 2. Wang Teng's eyes shimmered with excitement. He felt that he had hit the jackpot. He didn't expect the system to have such an operation. He wished he could cheer for it. With this, he could use the true dragon battle physique, pseudo, without worry. He wouldn't have to turn into that ugly creature. Instead, as he envisioned, the result of the transformation would be quite cool and handsome. Chapter 1784 The Emergence of Blade, the Power of Heaven, Victory. 2. But, why is there a pseudo? Wang Ting looked at the words in the brackets and felt a strong sense of resentment. You can call it the true dragon battle physique, but why add the pseudo at the back? It lowers the grade of this technique instantly. Could there be a true times true dragon battle physique? Wang Ting rubbed his chin and speculated with a smile. If the pseudo times true dragon battle physique was already so powerful, imagine true times true dragon battle physique. The level of the true dragon battle physique, pseudo, was at the 4th rank, just like the dragon blood battle physique. There was no change in level. True dragon battle physique, pseudo 2340,000, 4th rank, looks like I can improve my true dragon battle physique, pseudo, by improving my dragon blood battle physique. Wang Teng thought to himself. The glimmer in his eyes got brighter. Having a way to improve was always better than having none. This meant that he could continue collecting attributes from the Parker's family. The fusion of these two dragon-like physiques even sparked an idea in him. Could he potentially obtain other dragon-like physiques in the future and then merge them? As he accumulated more and more merged dragon-like physiques, would he be closer to achieving the so-called true times true dragon battle physique? Wang Teng felt excited just thinking about it. It felt promising. All these happened within a few breaths. A strange fluctuation suddenly erupted from Zhu Longshan's body. Immediately, a unique dark red domain spread out in all directions, pulling Wang Teng into it. Wang Teng's expression changed slightly. He glanced around him. This dark red domain was unique. The sky, the ground, and everything around were tinted with a dark red hue, like cracked molten lava. From those cracks, magma occasionally spewed out, filling the air with thick steam and scorching heat that permeated the entire domain. 4th rank domain. This was a 4th rank fire domain, as expected of a talent from the solar dragon race. Zhu Longshan grasped a 4th rank domain at the cosmos stage. His strength was not to be underestimated. Wang Teng grew more serious. If he didn't manage to raise his frost domain and the flaming magnetic domain to the 5th rank when he was in the chaotic uncharted, he would only be on par with Zhu Longshan now. He stood on a piece of cracked magma and scanned his surroundings. He saw no signs of Zhu Longshan. The massive body disappeared without a trace. The power of this domain was truly peculiar. However, it was impossible to evade Wang Teng's eyes. Real eye. Wang Teng activated this skill in his mind. His pupils turned golden as he scanned the domain, piercing through layers of energy barriers. He spotted Zhu Longshan. He was still in his large solar dragon form. Wisps of peculiar fluctuations radiating outwards, exerting control over the entire domain. Boom. Suddenly, molten lava erupted from under Wang Teng's feet, forming a column of magma that shot up into the sky, enveloping him entirely. A sinister grin spread across Zhu Longshan's hideous face covered with scales. Are you happy? A calm voice appeared beside his ear. The vertical pupils in Zhu Longshan's eyes constricted sharply. Was he discovered? This was impossible. He merged with his domain and hid his aura completely. How could he be discovered? But, when he looked up in the direction of the voice, he realized. Wang Teng had somehow appeared above him. He was looking down with a calm and indifferent gaze. Every scale on Chulong Mountain's body seemed to stand on end. Wang Ting was looking at him. This thought appeared in Zhu Longshan's mind almost instantly. Despite feeling that he was well hidden, the expression in the other party's eyes told him that he found him. Then, Wang Teng grinned at him. F***K. Zhu Longshan cursed in his heart. He lashed his dragon body and fled immediately. Die. At the same time, the lava behind Wang Ting erupted once again, sending columns of molten rock flying toward him. The power of the domain was infused within these lava columns. When they exploded, they sealed off the area around Wang Ting completely, leaving him no chance to evade. A normal Cosmos stage martial warrior would have been defeated by now. Even if they survived, they would be severely injured. Zhu Longshan heaved a sigh of relief when he saw this scene. What a close call. He was nearly discovered. That bastard nearly smashed him into doubting his dragon bloodline. He didn't dare to let Wang Ting get close to him anymore. He could guarantee that once Wang Ting touched him, he would face that hellish experience again. He shuddered uncontrollably when he remembered that feeling. Thus, the erupting magma columns became even more frequent and terrifying within the domain. He intended to exhaust Wang Ting to death. Light bolt. A calm voice came from within the column of lava. Zhu Longshan's heart skipped a beat. In the next moment, he saw a white light shuttled through the magma at an almost imperceptible speed. It appeared in front of him in an instant. What a fast speed. That's a light element battle technique? Zhu Longshan was flabbergasted. He suddenly realized something. Oh shit. He shouted and tried to escape. However, it was too late. Chapter 1785 The Emergence of Blade, The Power of Heaven, Victory. 3. Boom. A domain erupted from Wang Ting's body and pulled Zhu Longshan in instantly, leaving him nowhere to hide. Zhu Longshan looked around in shock, only to see massive meteorites floating all around, densely packed and too numerous to count. Welcome to my flaming magnetic meteor domain. Wang Ting stood on top of Zhu Longshan's head and said calmly. Solar Dragon Flame Domain. Zhu Longshan suppressed his anger and shock and let out a fierce roar. His dark red domain exploded, colliding with Wang Teng's flaming magnetic meteor domain. Boom. 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 The power of the domain erupted, and the two domains eroded and annihilated each other like two small worlds. Flaming meteor. Wang Ting pointed with his finger and countless meteors gathered, forming a colossal super meteorite with flames burning on its surface. It streaked across the sky like a shooting star and headed straight for the Solar Dragon Flame domain. Solar Dragon Flame Pillar. Zhu Longshan's pupils contracted as he let out a thunderous roar. The molten lava pillars within the domain erupted in unison, converging into a terrifying column of fire that surged forward. Boom. The next moment, the pillar of fire collided with the meteorite, resulting in a terrifying explosion. Flames swept out and filled the sky. The dark red and green flames formed two seas of flames and clashed continuously in a bid to annihilate the other. Fourth rank hybrid domain. Zhu Longshan's voice was filled with shock and his expression was extremely grim as he felt an extremely overwhelming pressure. At this moment, he understood how terrifying Wang Ting's domain was. He was extremely appalled. His Solar Dragon Flame domain was able to reach the fourth rank due to guidance from powerful individuals within his clan. Besides, it was also linked to his talent. The Solar Dragon Flame domain was a powerful domain developed with the talent of the Solar Dragon race, known as the Solar Dragon Flame. Many people in the Solar Dragon race had mastered this domain. They had a comprehensive heritage, allowing the younger generation of the Solar Dragon race to comprehend it in advance through the guidance of the experts in the race. This was also the reason why Zhu Longshan's domain was able to reach the fourth rank when he was only at the first level of the Cosmos stage. However, not only did Wang Teng display a fourth rank domain, his domain was a hybrid domain. How could this guy be so abnormal? Zhu Longshan found it unbelievable. Ever since he started fighting with Wang Teng, Every aspect of Wang Ting's performance had left him with a sense of powerlessness. In the face of absolute strength, his pride was trampled on the ground. However, he didn't know that Wang Ting's flaming magnetic meteor domain wasn't at the 4th rank. It was a 5th rank hybrid domain. Boom! The dark red pillar of fire in the sky finally collapsed under the bombardment of meteors. It turned into a torrential rain of molten lava and fire and poured down. Zhu Longshan's huge body hovered in the rain of fire and completely stiffened. Wang Ting looked down at him. A faint disdainful smile appeared on his face. There was no need for a 5th rank flaming magnetic meteor domain. A 4th rank domain was enough to destroy his solar dragon flame domain. That was his strength. You've lost. The calm voice reached Zhu Longshan's ears. Yet, it sounded grating. I'm from the solar dragon race. I won't lose. Solar dragon. Solar dragon. Wang Teng's expression was reflected in Zhu Longshan's eyes. He felt extremely humiliated and roared indignantly. I am a solar dragon. Open in day, close at night. With a furious roar, his huge dragon eyes closed and opened again, suddenly transforming into shades of black and white. In an instant, the world seemed to fall silent. Everything turned to darkness. All light disappeared, plunging into pure and extreme darkness. However, before everything plunged into darkness, Zhu Longshan didn't see the smirk on Wang Ting's face. He had the solar dragon eye as well. Zhu Longshan's huge body glided in the darkness as he charged towards Wang Ting. A dark crimson beam of light condensed in his mouth, and it even contained a trace of the power of origin. Terrifying energy spread out. Yet in this darkness, none of this could be seen. It was as if any light that emerged was devoured by the darkness. Die! Zhu Longshan roared. A dark crimson light shot out from the dragon's mouth, aimed at Wang Ting. It's time to end this. At this moment, a relaxed voice was heard. A blade appeared in Wang Ting's hand. He then swung it casually and a blade glow blasted across the sky. The emergence of blade, the power of heaven. Huang Heaven Blade. Infused with the origin of earth, as this strike cleaved through, it not only split apart the dark crimson radiance but also shattered the expanse of darkness before them. The world was illuminated by a yellowish blade glow. It looked like the sky. The blade glow was also reflected in Zhu Longshan's eyes. His mind went blank. The blade glow sliced through, and the dragon head was sent flying. Zhu Longshan's body turned into light and vanished. Everything was over. The spectators didn't even see what was going on before the match ended. Wang Ting won? Everyone stared blankly at Wang Ting, who was floating above the desert. They were bewildered. It seemed as though they hadn't fully regained their senses. He won. He really won. Zhu Longshan has already left. So strong. Wang Ting is ridiculously strong. What was that just now? It was so dark and I couldn't see anything. That seems to be the talent of the solar dragon race, the solar dragon eye. Open in day, close at night. That technique was incredible, but Zhu Longshan still lost. I think I saw a yellow blade glow. It's so scary. For a moment, the crowd broke out into an intense discussion and was unable to calm down for a long time. The battle was too exciting. Even the genius martial warriors from the various territorial domains felt that it was an eye-opening experience. Their trips were not in vain. The strength of the two opposing sides left them utterly astonished. I think I used too much strength. Wang Ting muttered to himself as he stood in the sky and looked at the spot where Zhu Longshan disappeared. He didn't even have the opportunity to take out his lightning slap. Everyone. Chapter 1786 The Struggle Within the Solar Dragon Race. 1. Everyone was speechless. Wang Ting didn't speak loudly, but they could hear him clearly. They felt exasperated and wanted to complain. This guy had already won, yet he still wanted to mock Zhu Longshan. What's more, he looked as if he didn't use his full strength. How pretentious. Zhu Longshan wasn't weak. To them, even if Wang Ting won, it must have cost him a considerable amount of effort. It wasn't as easy as it seemed. He only said this to anger Zhu Longshan. After all, they were all here watching, and these words were bound to spread through their mouths. By then, everyone would know that Zhu Longshan had lost terribly and was even mocked by Wang Teng. That was why they were all criticizing Wang Ting for being insensitive. Yu Qiqiao and the others wore strange expressions on their faces. They believed Wang Ting's words. No one knew Wang Ting's abilities better than them. This guy became more frightening after advancing to the Cosmos stage. He didn't use his full strength while battling Zhu Longshan. Many of his powerful techniques weren't used either. Although the League of Talents had great outreach, there was still some information blockade in each territorial domain. People from other territorial domains would have some delays in getting this information. Hence, many people didn't know the extent of Wang Teng's strength. Coupled with the fact that he had advanced to the Cosmos stage, even the people of the Great Qian Empire didn't know how strong he was now. In the desert, Wang Ting scanned his surroundings and picked up the attribute bubbles. Constellation Force, Fire. Asterisk 1200 Solar Dragon Flame Domain Asterisk 500 Solar Dragon Eye Asterisk 600 Solar Dragon Eye Asterisk 300 Cosmos Realm Spirit Asterisk 1200 Universe Realm Enlightenment Asterisk 2000 The attribute bubbles merged into Wang Teng's body one by one, and his eyes grew brighter and brighter. The gains from this time were equally impressive compared to the previous ones. His Constellation Fire Force increased by 1,200 points, and it was about to reach the halfway point of the Cosmos stage. Constellation Fire Force, 4,210,000, Cosmos stage first level, following that was the Solar Dragon Flame Domain, which was the one that Zhu Longshan had cast. It was a powerful fire element domain. However, Wang Teng's fire domain had merged into the Flaming Magnetic Meteor domain and it had already reached the 5th rank. Thus, the Solar Dragon Flame domain wasn't that important to him anymore. The only benefit it could bring him was that it could increase the traits of his Flaming Magnetic Meteor domain. The power of the Solar Dragon Flame Pillar was quite good. If a similar Flame Pillar attack was added to the Flaming Magnetic Meteor domain, the power would greatly increase. Next was the Solar Dragon Eye attribute. Wang Teng had obtained this attribute before and it was already at the real stage. This addition would allow his Solar Dragon Eye to become stronger, pushing it towards the realm beyond the real stage. Solar Dragon Eye, 4026-10,000, real stage, 4,026 points, just over 5,000 points left. Wang Teng was looking forward to it. If his Solar Dragon Eye advanced past the real stage, its power would increase tremendously. Heaven stage and Universe stage martial warriors might not even be able to deal with him. If Zhu Longshan used the Solar Dragon Eye against any other Cosmos stage martial warriors, they would have been defeated. However, he met Wang Teng, who had obtained the Solar Dragon Eye through his system. His Solar Dragon Eye was even more advanced than Zhu Longshan's, so he wasn't afraid of it at all. Besides those, Zhu Longshan had also dropped 2 other attributes, the Cosmos Realm Spirit and Universe Realm Enlightenment. This improved his Spirit and Enlightenment attributes by a little. Spirit, 16900200000, Cosmos Realm, Enlightenment, 117600300000, Universe Level. Wang Teng's current Spirit and Enlightenment attributes had started from scratch, so he couldn't let go of any attributes. Every point counts. Wang Teng was disappointed that Zhu Longshan didn't drop any Origin of Flame attribute bubbles. However, when he looked at his attributes board, it dawned on him. His Origin of Flame had reached the 2nd rank long ago. Based on the previous battle, Zhu Longshan's Origin of Flame was only at the 1st rank. How could he increase his attribute value with that? What a pity. Too fast. Even attribute points are hard to come by now. Wang Teng sighed. As a prodigy, he thought that Zhu Longshan would give him surprises. But he was wrong. He then left the desert immediately. Outside the freshman leaderboard. Many people had already left the freshman leaderboard. They looked up at the rankings. However, before the ranking changed, a ripple spread out from the stone tablet and a figure appeared. It was none other than Zhu Longshan. He was in a sorry state. His complexion was pale and he looked very weak. Being killed in the freshman leaderboard space had its repercussions. When others sparred, they at most suffer some injuries, and the impact wouldn't be too significant. However, Zhu Longshan was killed. His spirit suffered some damage and he would need to recuperate for some time. "Look, it's Zhu Longshan. He's out," someone shouted, and everyone turned to look at Zhu Longshan. This feeling of being the center of attention made Zhu Longshan very uncomfortable. His face felt like it was on fire although it was pale. He wanted to find a hole to hide in. Chapter 1787 The Struggle Within the Solar Dragon Race. 2. He lost. In the end, he lost to Wang Ting. His boastful words became a joke. Not only did he fail to retrieve the body, but he also lost 30,000 points for nothing. He almost coughed up blood at this outcome. The memories of his battle with Wang Ting in the freshman leaderboard caused a hint of fear to flicker in his eyes. How could this guy be so strong? Both of them advanced to the Cosmos stage recently and he was a genius ranked among the top 10 in the Solar Dragon territorial domain. Yet, compared to Wang Ting, the disparity was unexpectedly vast. This was unbelievable. Were the talents on the star rankings truly that extraordinary? Zhu Longshan's expression kept changing. His eyes revealed a deep sense of unwillingness. Zhu Longshan's expression is so gloomy. He looks like he wants to eat us. Well, he lost. If I lost, I will want to tear someone apart. I didn't expect the Solar Dragon race to lose to Wang Ting. Zhu Longshan is so pitiful. It looks like we need to re-evaluate Wang Ting's ability. Those who wanted to climb over him to get ahead will have to think twice now. That's right. If they underestimate Wang Ting's strength, they might be the next Zhu Longshan. The crowd pointed and whispered about Zhu Longshan. The discussions never spread incessantly. Ripples appeared on the freshman leaderboard stone plate again. A tall and slender figure emerged. It was Wang Ting. There was a moment of silence. Everyone shifted their gaze away from Zhu Longshan and focused on Wang Ting. Coincidentally, a dazzling golden light suddenly radiated from the freshman leaderboard stone plate behind him. Ring. In an instant, that golden light ascended from the bottom of the stone plate, soaring in a matter of a few breaths to reach the very top. Eventually, it coalesced into a name. Wang Ting. Gasp. There was an uproar among the onlookers. Even those who had witnessed the battle between Wang Ting and Zhu Longshan and had anticipated this outcome were still struck by the impactful sight of the rapidly ascending name. Under the backdrop of the golden light, Wang Ting's figure became even more dazzling. He left a deep impression on many people. Wang Ting. Zhu Longshan turned his head abruptly and looked at Wang Ting. He squeezed these two words through his gritted teeth. His hatred for Wang Ting had reached an extreme point. This honor should have belonged to him, but Wang Ting ruined it all. He was greatly humiliated. Everyone in the academy was probably laughing at him now. He confidently asked Wang Ting to challenge him in the past, only to be defeated so miserably. What a joke! Wang Ting glanced at him and smiled calmly. Zhu Longshan, you lost. I'm sorry, I can't return the body to you. Zhu Longshan's face turned green in anger when he heard Wang Ting bringing up this matter. He didn't have the confidence to ask Wang Ting to hand over the body anymore. He couldn't win him. What else could he do? Wang Ting, this matter isn't over. Zhu Longshan snorted coldly. The body of the Solar Dragon race will never be left outside. Even if I can't get it back, someone will take it back from you. Let them come and take it, Wang Ting said calmly. However, if their attitude is the same as yours, don't blame me for being impolite. I'm more than willing to accept points from others. Zhu Longshan furrowed his brows. He remembered his 30,000 points. It was a pain that made it hard to breathe. If he could retrieve that body, then spending 30,000 points would be worthwhile. After all, he could find a way to get the points back. But now, it was all in vain. He felt extremely frustrated. I think the Solar Dragon race is quite wealthy. You should have some influence within the academy, right? You must have a lot of points. Feel free to come find me, Wang Ting said with a smile. Zhu Longshan's face turned as black as the bottom of a pot. Wang Ting was treating him like a gullible fool. No, he was treating the entire solar dragon race as gullible fools. The others listened to Wang Ting's words and their expressions turned odd. Wang Ting was a ruthless man. Wasn't he afraid of offending the solar dragon race? Many people's gaze flickered. Wang Teng's audacity forced them to reconsider whether they should risk offending him. If they didn't have the confidence to defeat him, the consequences of offending him might not be any better than Zhu Longshan. Just wait. Zhu Longshan's face turned ashen. The mocking glances around him prevented him from staying any longer. He left with a harsh remark and turned away. Goodbye. Wang Ting waved his hands cheerfully behind him. Honestly, he was disappointed. Zhu Longshan managed to control himself. He missed an opportunity to get more attribute bubbles. Well, he couldn't keep fleecing the same sheep over and over. He would let its wool grow longer first before fleecing it again. I wonder if this will attract other solar dragon race martial warriors. Wang Ting touched his chin and wondered to himself in anticipation. In the Stellar Academy, the solar dragon race couldn't do anything to him. Only the students from the same batch as him could fight with him. As long as they were in the same batch, Wang Ting wasn't afraid. These thoughts flashed through his mind. He shook his head and stopped thinking about it. He landed on the ground and met up with Yu Qiqiao and the others. Boss, you're amazing. Wade leaned forward excitedly when he saw Wang Ting. Of course, Wang Ting glanced at him and replied calmly. Wade was speechless. Yu Qiqiao and Borit burst out laughing. This fatty didn't understand Wang Ting well enough. Chapter 1788, The Struggle Within the Solar Dragon Race. 3. You defeated Zhu Longshan. I don't think he will let you go so easily, Yu Qiqiao said seriously after laughing for some time. I know. Let's wait for the Solar Dragon Race to come and look for me. Wang Ting smiled. Are you trying to extort money from the Solar Dragon Race? Yu Qiqiao asked with a strange expression. Why not? Wang Ting asked. Well, I was worried you offended them too much. Did you not see the look in Zhu Longshan's eyes just now? He looked like he wanted to devour you, Yu Qiqiao said. Don't worry. The Solar Dragon Race doesn't have the ability to devour me, Wang Ting replied indifferently. Yu Qiqiao saw his confidence and kept quiet. At this moment, a figure walked over from afar. Looking for you? Yu Qiqiao looked at the person and asked. Wang Ting turned around and saw the other party. His expression changed slightly. He smiled and asked, Are you sure you want to challenge me today? Challenge Wang Ting. The people around them were shocked when they heard Wang Ting's words. Many of them who were about to leave stopped in their tracks. Was there another match to watch? Such thoughts raced through many minds. Soon, a buzz of discussions filled the air. That looks like Gallop. Gallop is from a powerful faction in the Gault territorial domain. He's also one of the top 10 in the League of Talents. I heard that he's a physical cultivator with a strong physique. Strong physique. Could it be that he saw Wang Ting's fighting style and wanted to challenge him because he knew that Wang Ting's physical body is powerful too? You might not know this, but Gallop was originally the record holder for the freshman who traveled the furthest in the Lightning Valley. Wang Ting overtook him, so they agreed yesterday to have a duel today. So that's what happened. However, Wang Ting's physical body is so strong that even Zhu Longshan can't win him. Will Gallop be able to win him? It's hard to say. Gallop is a lightning element martial warrior who refines his body using lightning energy. In terms of physical strength, he might be stronger than Zhu Longshan. They are from different territorial domains, so their systems are different. No one knows who's stronger without a fight. Yu Qiqiao and the others looked at Gallop in surprise. One duel just ended and another one came? No, Gallop felt a little awkward. He scratched his head and said, I think I should postpone the challenge. Everyone. What happened to the challenge? He wanted to postpone it. This fellow was obviously afraid. Yu Qiqiao and the others stared at Gallop strangely. They found it somewhat amusing. No problem. Wang Ting was caught between laughter and tears. He didn't expect this fellow to back out after watching his battle with Zhu Longshan. This fellow was burly and strong, so one wouldn't expect him to go back on his words. Wang Teng was surprised. Nonetheless, it made him regard Gallop in a new light. Not everyone had the courage to say such words akin to conceding, especially among talents who were particularly sensitive about their reputations. Wang Teng and the others didn't know that Gallop got frightened because he saw Wang Ting's brutal fighting method. Otherwise, given his personality, he would have challenged Wang Ting no matter what, especially since he was a physically powerful, talented martial warrior. Well, Wang Ting was unconventional. Compared to Zhu Longshan, who got thrown around violently, Gallop felt that it wasn't embarrassing to postpone the challenge. He was full of muscles, but he wasn't stupid. All right, I'll look for you when I'm confident enough. Gallop turned around and left. He probably went back to continue his cultivation. This fellow is a cultivation maniac, Wade said. People like him are more straightforward. Yu Qiqiao blinked. At least more straightforward than Zhu Longshan, Wang Teng chuckled. He felt a hint of regret in his heart. He couldn't get more attribute bubbles from that guy. Bore it, don't you want to challenge Wang Teng? Yu Qiqiao asked. I think he'll wait, Bore it chuckled. All of you got frightened by him. You're so timid, Yu Qiqiao said with contempt. Why don't you do it? Wade teased. I've already lost. I'll find a chance to knock him unconscious in the future, Yu Qiqiao replied. Are you sure you want to discuss knocking me unconscious right in front of me? Wang Teng felt speechless. The group laughed and boarded the spacecraft, leaving the area where the freshman leaderboard was. Meanwhile, news of Wang Teng's victory over Zhu Longshan spread. It wasn't just among the new students. Many senior students were aware of it too. Wang Teng made a name for himself among the freshmen. From the start, his reputation wasn't low. He was a prodigy who entered the star rankings, so everyone knew about him, whether they wanted to or not. However, since they didn't witness Wang Ting's ability personally, they had their doubts. Now that Wang Ting had defeated a genius martial warrior from the Solar Dragon race, he cemented his reputation. Even if there were still people who harbored resentment, they didn't dare to underestimate him anymore. He defeated a talent from the Solar Dragon race. This Wang Teng is interesting. At the Academy's Arbitration Association, Senior Wu De showed a keen interest. Many senior students shared similar sentiment. Also, some factions formed by the students in the Academy began to take a heightened interest in Wang Ting. Competition within the Academy was fierce. Thus, some like-minded martial warriors would gather together for mutual support, forming factions of various sizes in the Academy. Don't be deceived by the term Academy factions. In reality, they were composed of Heaven Stage, Universe Stage, and even Eternal Stage martial warriors. Chapter 1789, The Struggle Within the Solar Dragon Race. 4. These factions would be powerful even in the outside world. Even mighty forces like the Parker's family, which had dominated the Great Qian Empire for years, might not be as powerful as these Academy factions. Moreover, these factions weren't limited to the Academy alone. They had extensive networks of relationships beyond the Academy. The Academy was just a microcosm of their influence. A few Solar Dragon race martial warriors were gathered in a manner in the Academy. HMPH, he lost. Zhu Longshan is a disgrace to our Solar Dragon race. A Heaven Stage martial warrior from the Solar Dragon race crossed his arms in front of his chest and snorted. I've already told you that Wang Teng isn't an easy person to deal with and we shouldn't offend him. However, you didn't believe me, another lady from the Solar Dragon race said with a smirk. Although this lady was from the Solar Dragon race and was at least 5 meters tall, her body was well proportioned and not overly bulky. She didn't look strange. Her figure was extremely voluptuous, and along with the dragon horns on her head, she exuded a unique charm. Unlike the male members of the Solar Dragon race, she was quite attractive. She wasn't rough-looking. Zhu Longshuang, stop making sarcastic remarks. It's of no benefit to either of us if we don't get that body back, the Heaven Stage martial warrior said coldly. Believe it or not, if I go and retrieve it, I can bring it back easily, Zhu Longshuang said calmly as she swirled a glass of red wine in her hand. You! The solar dragon race man scoffed. What will you do if I succeed? Zhu Longshuang asked. Zhu Long how? What if Zhu Longshuang uses her charm and succeeds? Another martial warrior from the solar dragon race laughed and commented. Get lost. Zhu Longshuang snapped. How can a lady from the solar dragon race do such a thing? Zhu Longhao snorted. Then, he looked at Zhu Longshuang and said, if you succeed, I'll give you 100,000 points. 100,000 points isn't enough. Zhu Longshuang said. How much do you want? Zhu Longhao frowned and asked. 300,000. Zhu Longshuang said. 300,000. Zhu Longhao was infuriated. Why don't you just snatch the points from me? The others were also taken aback. 300,000 points wasn't a small sum for them. After all, no one's points appeared out of thin air. In the academy, points were extremely important. They were needed everywhere. 300,000 points was enough to buy an eternal stage scripture. If you don't dare, just say it. Zhu Longshuang purposely angered him. You. Zhu Longhao fell for the ply. He glared at Zhu Longshuang and said, fine, 300,000 it is. If you can get the body back, I can afford to give you 300,000 points. All right, you said it. Everyone, be our witness, Zhu Longshuang immediately shouted. The others naturally agreed with a smile. Zhu Longhao and Zhu Longshuang were not from the same lineage. They were happy to watch them argue. I'm not done yet. What if I brought it back first? Zhu Longhao asked with a sly look in his eyes. TSK, is this your plan? Zhu Longshuang rolled her eyes. She was speechless. What do you want? If I retrieve it first, you will give me 300,000 points, Zhu Longhao said. Zhu Longshuang stared at Zhu Longhao for some time, wanting to see where his confidence came from. Do you dare to agree? Zhu Longhao smiled. Why won't I? I've already said that I can retrieve it, Zhu Longshuang replied with a smile. Since you're so confident, let's set a time limit. I can't wait forever, Zhu Longhao said. How about 1 month? Excluding some uncertain factors, 1 month should be enough, Zhu Longshuang pondered and suggested. All right, 1 month. Let's see who retrieves it first. Zhu Longhao agreed without any hesitation. After agreeing, the members of the solar dragon race dispersed. Despite being from the same race, they came from different branches and fought for interests and benefits within the race. They weren't necessarily united in purpose and often engaged in internal competitions. Retrieving the solar dragon race's body was a mission assigned by the higher authorities. It could be considered a subtle power struggle within the race. Chapter 1790 Gathering. The Constellation Society. 1. In Wang Teng's manor. Wang Teng, Yu Chiqiao, Borit, Wade, and Yu Yunxian were all gathered together. After they came back from the freshman leaderboard, they came directly to Wang Teng's manor. Wang Teng didn't care about what was happening outside. The battle between him and Zhu Longshan stirred up quite a commotion. Many factions started acting in secret, but these matters didn't affect Wang Teng. The inevitable will come, and trying to stop it won't make a difference. Hence, there was no point worrying over it. He would just lie back and wait. Even if he hadn't paid much attention, he could still guess what was happening. It wasn't that he didn't prepare anything. He knew that the best preparation was to raise his ability. As long as he was powerful enough, he could overcome any obstacles that came his way. It was that simple. At this moment, in the main hall of Wang Teng's manor, Wang Teng and his friends were discussing about the formation of the Mutual Help Association. The Mutual Help Association, originally formed by Wade, was just a rudimentary organization aimed at sharing information and assisting each other. The group wasn't large. That was why their interactions were relatively straightforward without much conflict of interest. However, the Mutual Help Association that Wang Ting was planning to establish was different. They intended to use this platform to execute their plans and earn a substantial amount of points. Once matters involved interests, they ceased to remain pure. There would inevitably be various issues that were not present before. This was similar to how friends could turn against each other over a few hundred yuan. In this case, they were dealing with a huge amount of precious points. "Boss, do you need me to contact them now?" Wade asked. "There's no hurry. We'll inform them after we've finished discussing it. Those that want to join can do so. I won't force anyone," Wang Ting said. "It's best if we can do a thorough review. We shouldn't just accept anyone," Yu Qiqiao contemplated for a moment and carefully suggested after glancing at Wade. "I agree with Sister Yu." Wade nodded in deep thought. Yu Qiqiao smiled. She was worried that the fatty would object, but it looked like he was rather shrewd. "Let me contact Ji Haochen and the others." Wang Ting asked Round Ball to contact them. "They have a good relationship with you. You can trust them," Yu Qiqiao said. "Knowing someone's background thoroughly is always a safer approach," Wang Ting nodded. "Boss, are you trying to include the other several stellar academies too?" Wade asked in surprise. "Whether we include them or not is another matter, but these guys are definitely getting involved," Wang Ting chuckled. As soon as he finished speaking, Round Ball made the calls. Several screens appeared simultaneously. The faces of Ji Haochen, Timothy, Yu Yuanrue, and a few others appeared on the screens. Even Leng Qianxue, Tu Xiaoba, Sichu Weiner, Ling Yangshu, Su Jianchen, Gaunt, Berkshire, and some others were present. Wang Teng was more familiar with these people and had interacted with them before. Thus, even if they didn't make it into the top 10 of the League of Talents, Wang Ting still decided to pull them in. "Wang Ting, you've caused quite a stir recently. You broke 2 records in a row and defeated the talent from the Solar Dragon race. I've heard about it even at the Second Stellar Academy. You are getting famous here." Ji Haochen was happy that Wang Teng contacted him. However, soon, his tone became more contemplative. "It's nothing worth mentioning," Wang Teng replied calmly. "Will you die if you don't show off for a day?" Ji Haochen was speechless. He whispered, "Anyway, you must have earned a lot of points, right? Breaking a record gives you 30,000 points. I'm very poor now. Could you sponsor me a bit? I called you over because I have a business deal for everyone." "We can earn points together," Wang Ting said mysteriously. "Earn points?" Ji Haochen's eyes lit up. The other people's eyes also shimmered. They had been listening to the conversation between Wang Ting and Ji Haochen, and now they couldn't help but speak up. "Wang Ting, what business are you referring to?" Timothy asked. "Huh! Everyone is here," Ji Haochen exclaimed in surprise. "We have been here for a long time," Tu Xiaoba said remarked playfully. "Hey, little rabbit, you're here too." Ji Haochen didn't mind her teasing. He sized her up with interest. "Don't give me that disgusting look, or I'll poke your eyes with a carrot," Tu Xiaoba bared her front teeth and said fiercely. "I'm so scared." Ji Haochen patted his chest and quickly took a step back. However, his exaggerated performance lacked credibility. "Childish. I'm in no mood to play with you." Tu Xiaoba snorted with a look of contempt. "Wang Ting, chase this guy away. Childish. He's too immature to be a suitable partner for cooperation." Yu Qiqiao had spoken to Tu Xiaoba and Leng Qianxue before this, so they had some understanding of the business Wang Teng was talking about. Ha ha ha. The others burst into laughter as they witnessed Ji Haochen being scorned by Tu Xiaoba. Ji Haochen was speechless. He was looked down upon by a little rabbit. The other party even called him childish. What a joke. She was the most childish person. How dared she called him childish? Ji Haochen was about to retort, but he was interrupted by Wang Teng before he could speak. All right, let's get down to business." "Yes, that's right. Let's get down to business. I'm not as childish as someone here." Tu Xiaoba was sitting on her bed, surrounded by pink. There were pink bunny plush toys everywhere. However, when she said this, she quickly sat up straight and nodded with a serious expression on her palm-sized face. Chapter 1791, Gathering. The Constellation Society. 2. Ji Haochen. He felt like hitting someone now. Everyone laughed secretly when they saw his exasperated expression. All right, Tutu, stop teasing him. Yu Chichiao covered her mouth and laughed. All right, since Sister Yu has spoken, I'll let him go this time. Tu Xiaoba chuckled. Wang Teng smiled and shook his head. Before that, let me introduce someone. He looked at Treant Borit, who was sitting quietly at the side, and introduced him with a smile. A Treant. Everyone sized up Borit curiously. Treant races were rare in the universe, especially powerful ones. The fact that Borit could enter the Stellar Academy indicated that he wasn't weak. What's more, Wang Teng was the one who introduced him to them. It was natural for them to speculate. There was no one weak on Wang Teng's side. This Treant must have some unique qualities to gain Wang Teng's recognition. Hello everyone, please take care of me in the future, Borit scratched his crown and said. Everyone gave face and introduced themselves. Then, Wang Teng started the main topic. He elaborated his plans to compete for business with the academy. Make pills, forge weapons, and sell them. Snatching business from the academy is a good idea. Everyone's eyes lit up when they heard this. Their breathing quickened as if they saw countless points flying towards them. Damn, Wang Ting, you truly are a great brother. You are sharing this good business with us, Ji Haochen said. He was almost moved to tears. Only he knew how financially tight he had been recently. Points were needed everywhere in the academy, and the ones he received when he first entered were quickly running out. He felt like he had never been this poor before. The others were excited too. For senior students, earning points was never an easy task, let alone for new students. Wang Ting had opened up a path to wealth for them. How could they not be thrilled? Does anyone have any objections? Wang Ting asked. I have no objections. If I can earn points, anything is fine. Ji Haochen shook his head hurriedly. Can you have some dignity? Yu Chichiao was speechless. If you have points, why do you need your dignity? Ji Haochen chuckled. I can't be bothered with you. Yu Chichiao rolled her eyes. She turned serious and said, I think there's something we need to discuss further. Everyone was stunned when they saw her serious expression. Wang Ting also raised an eyebrow, unsure of what Yu Chichiao was up to. She hadn't expressed any opinions before. Various materials are needed for making pills and forging weapons, Yu Chichiao said slowly when the group turned their attention to her. The others quickly understood what she wanted to say. Although the majority of the points earned from selling these items will go to Wang Teng, and were only responsible for the sales and taking a certain percentage, I believe we should also fork out some points to purchase materials. There will definitely be buyers for these items. We're getting a significant advantage here, and it wouldn't be fair to acquire a large number of points without contributing anything, Yu Chichiao stated. No need to worry about it so much. It's not that serious. I don't feel like dealing with the selling aspect, and it works out perfectly for you all to handle that part. You contribute the manpower and earn some points. It's quite fair, Wang Ting chimed in before anyone else had a chance to speak. To him, weren't a big deal, anyway. He was getting the lion's share of the profits and there were no losses. The extra time saved could be used for his cultivation, a luxury others didn't have. Also, he did this to bind these people together, forming his mutual help association. The favors given now would likely be repaid in the future. I think Yu Kikiao's suggestion is valid. We should contribute some points. Timothy rubbed his chin thoughtfully, not a lot, but at least it shows our effort. I agree. Ji Haochen replied without any hesitation. I agree too. Leng Qianxue nodded calmly and was the third to express her opinion. The others expressed their stance. No one objected. They were well aware that putting in a few points now could lead to earning more points later. There was no loss for them. Wang Ting didn't expect everyone to agree. No one showed any hesitation. He was quite surprised. Since everyone has agreed, let's go with that then, shall we? Yu Chichiao looked at Wang Ting and smiled. Seriously. Wang Ting was caught between laughter and tears. Wang Ting, have you ever thought about this? Right now, everyone here is someone you know, so you might not mind. But what about in the future? As more and more people join, are they all just going to come in and get benefits for free? There are no such good deals in the world, Yu Chichao said sternly. Sister Yu is right. Boss, I agree with Sister Yu. Wade raised his hand. There needs to be effort before there can be gain. That way, we won't have any freeloaders. We need to come up with more detailed rules moving forward to prevent others from taking advantage of us, Yu Chichao said. All right, you've said it all. I think I can just sit back and relax. Wang Teng shrugged and smiled. You're acting all innocent after benefiting from it. Yu Chichao rolled her eyes. As soon as she finished speaking, she noticed everyone looking at her with strange expressions. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.